Hey, good evening, everybody. It's Monday again, January the 14th, 2019. And as usual, I'm Rusty, your host. This is the Stunthangar Control Line Forums video hangout. And if you need to get the link to come in on the video, of course, you have to be logged into the Stunthangar forums and go to the live streaming, and the at the bench thread is the link where you can click into this video or you can watch it on the YouTube watch page, which if you just go to the Stunthangar YouTube site, then it'll be front and center when you get there. There's a chat box you can use to communicate with us, ask your questions, or post your answers or opinions, whatever else you got, and hang out with us. I'll be here until at least midnight, and depending on the conversation, as usual, we'll go on and until we get tired. And so, welcome. Looks like we got 3 viewers out there so far on the YouTube side, and we'll sit here and wait for some video guests to come in, and hopefully we'll have a good time. Tell us what all you did over the weekend. And it was cold here. Well, chilly, I guess. Some of you wouldn't think so, but if you're acclimated to South Carolina, for instance, it feels cold. And I hadn't been out to the flying field in a long time, but looks like I'm getting back in the game. I'm walking around pretty good. My newfound uh, both legs are on the ground now, which it's been a long time coming, and looks like I'm going to be ready by the spring, and way before that for just puttering around the shop building kits. And I've got more stuff to build than I know what to do with. And so, see, right now, the Cardinal, of course, needs to be finished. Everybody's probably tired of hearing about that. And then the new laser cut Cox Hyper Viper replica, full fuselage, sort of a hollow log style, half A for a Norvell 061 or a TD. I'll be putting a Norvell in mine. Got that. Got a little super lightweight built up wing ringmaster still in the shipping tube that needs to be built for a TD-010. Oh, hey, Jack Snavely, how you doing? Hope everything's going well. That's our first visitor on the YouTube. Let's see, what else have I got? I got a full-size flight streak in the box, and got to get started on that. And then I've got Sterling P-51. So I'm going to have a busy building season, if nothing else. Hopefully, I'll have a busy flying season too. So, working on getting in shape for the contest season. I got enough time to be ready for it, I think. So, anyway, we'll come talk about your workshop activities and whatever you did over the weekend. I got my fornicating bunny cup, my good luck cup, full of coffee. So, what you doing, Jack? What's going on with you in Kansas, if I'm not mistaken? Hey Jack, have you got enough broadband to get in here on the video, or you just prefer to do it YouTube? Oh, one of my fans is dinging me. Let's see. I bet that's Minnesota Mike. Let's see if I'm right on that guess. Wake up, phone. And let's see. It is. Oh no, it's my buddy Ron Cribbs. It won't let me log in. Let's see. It won't let me log into the Google, but I'm watching a live feed on YouTube. Okay, so Ron, do you see? You can text me if you can't see the chat box, but on the telephone, to find the chat box, you need to hold the phone vertically so that the screen is long ways vertical, and then go down to where you see the comments, and the chat box is underneath the comments. It's kind of hard to find, but once you get there, you can text chat with us if you want to. And I'm wondering if you can't log into the Google Hangouts, maybe you could go to the Google Play Store, or get to it through your search engine. If you've got Chrome, that's best. And download the Google Hangouts app. And I don't know if you need to do anything other than just have it downloaded. It might take care of everything by itself automatically, but give that a try. And I haven't seen you post anything in the chat box yet, so I'm assuming that you either can't find or don't have the chat box. I know it's a pain in the ass to find sometimes, but anyway, I'll hang on. I'll leave my message screen on my phone on in case you want to answer any of those questions. But that's my buddy Ryan Cribbs from Oklahoma, and he's been in town this week. Oh, here comes Sparky. Let me let him in. Mr. Stunthangar himself. And there you go, Sparky. Turn your mic on and you'll be live with.
What's going on?
Not much, just getting started and trying to get one of my buddies who's never visited before, trying to get him in. And he's on a telephone, so sometimes that makes it a little harder. He's on a Apple phone, I believe, or whatever they call it. But so, what you up to, Sparky?
I'm getting ready to go to bed, but I thought I'd come on, and I'm gonna do, I don't know, 10 minutes worth of work on this wing.
Okay.
I thought I'd see what was happening.
Well, yeah, we just found in our groove now. And what about the weather? Are you under snow up where you are?
Oh yeah, I had to dig out this morning. It was about 6 inches deep on my floor.
Wow. Now that's in Dayton. You're in Dayton, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's worse in St. Louis.
Yeah, that's what I was about to ask you. I figured it probably was. Now let's see. There's my buddy texting me, and see if we can help him get in. Wake up phone. There we go. When he did that, it took me to Sparky's feed. I'm not sure, Ron. Well, if you can find the text chat, you can hang around there for tonight, and then we'll get on in a private session and see if we can figure out how to do it once you get back to Oklahoma, and we'll have time to sit down and troubleshoot it. I don't know much about Apple phones for one thing, and so that kind of slows me down. But at least you can see us. I know you've never seen the show before, so that's Ryan Cribbs from Cox Engines Forum wanting to watch us and see what we do on here. And
I know, Ron.
Here comes Charles Carter. Yeah, you know Ryan. I think he pitted for you or helped you do something with your Monado one day at a contest. Hey, Charles.
Hey, how's it going?
Oh, pretty good. How you doing, man? Did you have a good weekend?
Yeah, pretty good. I haven't flown because the weather was bad today, so I haven't flown since Friday, and I reported on that already.
Yeah. Well, what kind of bad weather y'all got out there in Southern California? Is it raining?
Just rain. What'd you say, Sparky?
80 degrees.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
today was
different.
Today was, I think, around 62.
Ooh, wow. Downright cold.
I'll trade you.
I know, but I don't want to trade.
Do you even have a furnace in your house?
Yeah, that's by law. Yeah, so yeah, we have the furnace.
Really?
Oh yeah, you can't. Yeah, I think that's one of the minimum requirements of a house that has a furnace. I don't think you can sell one if it doesn't have a furnace.
But what about it seems like it'd be even more important in SoCal to have a air conditioner. So
I
you
don't
got,
think that's not
uh,
a legal requirement.
well, you can sweat to death, but you can't freeze to death, I guess, huh? Freeze it to
Yeah.
death at 60 degrees.
And that kind of sounds ironic, huh? Because you don't really, I mean, it doesn't get that cold out here, so you really could
Yeah.
bundle up and do without a heater. But the air conditioner would actually make you more comfortable. That's for sure.
Okay, well, let me ask y'all a question since we got a couple of people here. I got a buddy who's on an Apple phone. He's trying to get in, and the link won't take it. The link in at the bench won't take him into the video, but
Ugh.
he can see us on the YouTube page. Now, Ron, if you were listening,
Wrong link.
one thing, Ron, if you're listening and you're watching us by clicking the video that's in that at the bench thread, go down to the bottom where it says YouTube logo and click on that, and that might take you to the page with the chat
So,
box.
listen to me.
Okay.
He's not getting in. He's clicking on the video. That's not the link you want. You want the one that says feed. Join the live feed. It's just a link. There's no
Yeah.
picture or nothing.
Yeah. Okay. I think he did that, but it says when I did that, it took me to Sparky's feed. I'm not sure what that means. So I might have to get together with him and we'll figure it out one day when we're not doing a show, so we can get in for the next episode. It was more of a curiosity than anything. He's probably got to hit the sack early tonight anyway. He's got a plane to catch at 7:30 or so in the morning.
So, Rusty, so how is the cane and walking around without the walker?
I'm doing well. Now, when I got out of dialysis today after my treatment, I was kind of unstable and wished that I had had the walker with me, because I kind of did a little rocky thing a few times that I don't need to be getting off balance like that. So I might
No.
start taking that walker with me to dialysis, because I'm a little loosey goosey after that. But otherwise, I'm using the cane for going everywhere around the house. And I have not walked around in the yard with it yet. I'm still, there's no real pain or anything. I can feel muscles tweaking that are waking up, and you know the difference between pain and just muscles getting tight. But I think if I was able to do any more, I'd be doing more than they want me to. And my physical therapist comes for her possibly last visit tomorrow, and so I'll talk to her about what I should and should not be doing. But I don't have any restrictions really. Oh, let me interrupt the topic here. Mike Lonsky says, Apple phone, click video, the click on YouTube logo, then click on YouTube logo to watch on YouTube and be able to participate in chat. If he's signed in with a YouTube account, that might help, because I don't, Ron, you need to be signed into your YouTube account, and I know you've got one, so be sure you're logged into YouTube also. If he wants to be on video, Mike says he needs the Google Hangouts app, and he did download the Google Hangouts app, I believe. So that's Ron Cribbs, in case you didn't hear me say it before, one of our Cox Engine Forum buddies. But anyway, thanks for the tips, Mike.
Yeah, hi, Mike.
Well, has anybody here been, well, it's just you and me and Sparky, but Charles, have you been following the new forum on Stunthangar? I hadn't been there in so long, I didn't realize there was a new one. is on the handle or something?
Yeah, I haven't spent a lot of time on there, but I'm really interested in that particular thread.
Yeah, it's all about
Really,
flying, and I didn't realize it was there. I love talking. I love talking about flying, so I'm gonna have to start reading up in that one. There's only about 200 posts so far, I think.
yeah, but I've read maybe half of it. I really like it. Really interesting. And like me, sometimes I'm messing up on stuff that I've created. Create my own problems sometimes,
Yeah.
and so getting back to the basics of the handle itself. I mean, that's a really good thing. I found that it's not unusual for my neutral to be not really be neutral. You know,
Mm-hmm.
that handle, that thread kind of talked about that, and then making sure your handle is perpendicular to the ground. That's really important.
Yeah, I'm gonna start putting on that on my reading list. I've so far behind on my forum reading that just about every thread out there is new, and that sounds like Ron's got another text for me here.
And Mike Wonky says, no video for me tonight. Busted modem. New one coming tomorrow. I'll just watch on the tube tonight.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Oh
miss
well.
you.
He's been having modem problems the other night.
Yeah, I noticed that. You're right.
His extender was kicking him off every 10 minutes or so.
Yeah, that's right.
Or 11
I think
minutes.
it was 12 minutes.
Yeah, yeah. So
I think
okay.
I need to get a better modem myself because I have young kids now that are. I mean, all three of them are on some device. My wife's on a device, and then our TV is plugged into the internet, and then we have all these computers. So I think I need a more powerful modem myself.
Yeah, maybe, but I mean, it's probably as good as your broadband is capable of doing, unless you've got a really old modem. So, I mean, if a new modem isn't the answer, then upgrading your broadband might. What kind of speed does your broadband claim to have?
I don't know. I don't know. It's about 3 years old, I think.
Uh, that's not too old.
It's
That's
not
how
too
old
old.
mine is.
But my I might need a better router.
Mike says he doubled his internet speed and the old modem couldn't handle it.
Oh.
My modem belongs to Spectrum, so if mine won't handle any increase, then they'll have to replace it themselves. And they're supposedly going to be increasing our speed soon. And they've been saying soon for a while now, but so we'll see when that happens actually.
Here, Rusty. I got 120 meg up.
That's 120 up, really?
Yeah.
That's incredible. I got 2.5 up, 2.5 up and 25 down.
No, excuse me. It's 120 down, and I think I got 25 up.
That's probably about right. That's pretty quick up still. It doesn't take forever. It used to take forever to load a YouTube video, and mine's a lot faster than it was before the first increase. But still, at 2.5, they could stand to get a little bit quicker.
Yeah, Mike Lonky is saying that his does too, but it hasn't been upgraded in 5 years.
Modems, I guess modems do. I know routers wear out. My modem and router are both in the same box, but I don't know. It might be 5 years old. I don't remember now.
Did you watch the push rod explanation, Charles?
I did. Thank you so much. That was great.
Yeah, I see Mike's got Spectrum too.
That's what this is.
Ron did what Sparky suggested. and it says just keep saying error code 500. He might need to download the app. Yeah, you definitely got to download the Google Hangouts app. That would probably cure your problems, Ron.
So Sparky, it looks like that wing you're building is gonna have to be notched out as well. Is that right?
Yes. I'll do that this week. I'm just kind of detailing and finishing it up now.
Now, I imagine it's easier to notch when you cut the fuselage in half the way you do, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah, it'll fit together perfect when I'm done. You know, it'll plug right in. I didn't like how I had the other hole cut in here. It was too big. So, see if that.
Have you ever had to remove your center section once it's been glued on?
No.
Okay.
Why would I have to do that?
I don't know. I was just curious because I've done that, and I used heat. I put a heat gun to it to soften up to get the glue to release. That's how I got it out. Pretty neat. It came off, fairly decent.
Was it CA? CA won't release with heat.
No, it was another glue. It wasn't CA.
White glue?
Might have been some sort of cellulose glue, like Ambroid or Sigma or something like that.
Oh, really? I know epoxy will let go if you heat it up, but
yeah, that's what I've done before with epoxy too.
Yeah, I learned that the first time I glued bolts into the firewall by accident one time, and then had to put the soldering iron on them, and they came right out.
Yeah, I also used the monocoat iron. That's how I did between the monocoat iron and the heat gun. I got it to release.
So you got 7 YouTube viewers. Get a little slow start tonight. Hopefully we'll have some more coming in. Tryon's told us the other night that he's getting busy going back to school, so we might not see quite as much of him in the near future, but wishing him luck with that, studying mechanical engineering.
Yeah. Yeah, Bob Hunt might not be in for a while also.
What's he up to?
I don't know, of course his business, making wings and stuff, and but he's just, I had talked to him a couple of days ago or so, and he just mentioned it in passing.
Yeah, he gets a lot of wing orders, and
yeah, he does. And then his other interests too with guitars.
Yeah. I wonder if he hangs out on guitar builder forums. I never thought to ask him.
Yeah, I really enjoy everybody's on the show, but he's really very informative,
Yeah.
Have you ever tried to reach out to like Brett Buck and Dave Fitzgerald and others like that? I know Sparky had some interviews a year or two ago with Paul Walker, Howard Rush, and Bob Hunt, but have you had any luck trying to reach them in any way?
I haven't. I can only work so hard.
I wonder if any of those guys have ever watched us on the show. But I don't know. Just wondering.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had for a while when we first started up Mark Scarborough came in for probably 4 or 5 shows, and I hadn't seen much from him even on the forums lately.
This flap weighs 19 grams. I said it was a 10-gram piece, so because it was the clip, the horn clip, and the hinges weigh 9 grams.
Okay.
I ain't going for no 3-ounce flaps like Al Rabe.
Yeah, well, on my Nobler, I actually laid up several layers of fiberglass, trying to make them stiff, and
Yeah.
I never weighed those flaps, but I imagine they're probably a couple ounces for sure.
Yeah, they probably get heavy with fiberglass and epoxy.
Each panel.
Did you use finishing resin or did you use regular epoxy?
You know, I don't remember. That build is a while back. I don't remember. I just know that I was reading one of Ray Rudder's articles. I actually have a, he was generous enough to post a lot of information on Stunthangar, and so I took the time to print, the articles on, I think Must Stunt. I made a binder off of Stunthangar. You see how thick it is.
Man, yeah.
I mean, it's not double-sided copy; it's single-sided. So that's probably why it's so. It could be thinner, but I didn't want images to transfer or go through the other side.
Yeah, if they get hot, like if you put it in a car in the summer or something, the toner from the printer will make them stick together, and ruin it. Turn into a brick.
Yeah, so I was studying that, and I think I might have read where he, really was like, I think Sparky has talked about how he uses carbon fiber tubes for the leading edge to get the flaps stiff. I mean, he's really aggressively pursues really rigid flaps, whatever.
Yeah, no need, no need for it. Your airplane flight, there's no need for it.
Yeah, Wendy echoed the same sentiments. He just said they need to be just strong enough, no more. He found that 1/4-inch flaps was more than sufficient.
These are 3/8 sanded to an airfoil. 3/8 A-grain punk wood. The whole wing is made out of 4.5 pound wood. I can't get it no lighter.
I've heard that expression, punk wood, and I'm assuming it's just soft.
Yeah, soft.
Just like some men can be punks and they're just really soft, right?
What's that?
Just like some men can be punks and they're just really soft.
Yeah.
Yeah, they just used the punk thing to cover up their softness, to hide their softness, disguise
it. Talk big, use bad words. My son deals with that as all the time. He has these kids that have just terrible mouths. I'm always trying to explain to him, hey, he's just trying to sound tough. He's really soft. Maybe if he was really confident, he wouldn't have to use all those bad words.
That's right.
And that's why, hey, I know all those bad words, but I don't use them.
If you use a bunch of filth when you're arguing with people about whatever the topic is, then you just destroy your own argument, looking like an idiot. I think.
I think so too. It's I
think it betrays your lack of intelligence when you can't do anything but cuss.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. It's a tale for me. I can tell that there's some deficiency there if you have to revert to that. But everybody's different. Sometimes You know, I myself, I find myself, I consider myself a very nice person. But when I realize someone doesn't respond to nice people, and you only respond to, uh, someone who's really aggressive and getting in their face, then I'll have to resort to doing that. But I find that that's, the exception more than the rule.
Yeah.
I can't treat everybody the same.
There was
And
some
I
movie.
realized,
There was some movie one time, and Wilford Brimley said, "Sometimes to get a mule's attention, you have to smack him between the eyes with a 2x4."
I wanted to show this so you guys knew when
all
I
right,
made a rookie mistake. See, there's the wingtip weight box.
Yeah.
yeah,
If you look at the other side, there,
Uh. Oh
there.
God.
yeah, you mentioned that on the video, and I thought that was really, neat that you actually, admitted to that, Sparky, because,
Oh, that's
you know,
part of building. Might
yeah,
as well show the bad with the good.
right. Like Wendy used to say, no editing of videos. But I remember he talked about, um, what was that guy Mugsley? He always called. He had done that and actually had finished the plane, and he tried to explain that he did it on purpose. He thought it'd be easier to change the tip weight if it was on top.
No.
Yeah, it's better to just admit your mistakes up front than
Yeah.
try to defend them. Sometimes you look worse trying to defend it.
Well, I fell asleep at the switch. That's what happened.
Hey, but I really appreciate you admitting that because you look at someone who builds these beautiful planes, and then when I make a mistake or something, I'm thinking, oh man. But
Yeah. And mistakes like that can be covered up so easy. Nobody will ever know it was there unless you tell them about it. Once it's finished, you can't tell it. You
No,
can't tell it's got a patch. A little bit of superfill, a little bit of silk
and
skin.
my airplane had a hole in it on the leading edge. How would you tell it? You know, remember my airplane, right, Rusty?
I do. Yeah.
Had a big old hole in it.
was that from a bird or what?
You didn't know about that?
I might have known. I just don't remember. It was a bird strike.
No. It was this hole. There was a hole in the side, about yay big where a hand would go.
Yeah.
My boss put his hand through the leading edge.
He squeezed
Wow.
it.
Did that at Huntersville. And Doran said, well, we can slot some fiberglass in. I know, put it back in the car. So I put it back in the car and
Oh wow, it's beautiful.
Yeah, you can't tell it was there.
Wow. Yes, the nice thing about balsa wood, it's you can definitely cover. You can fix things pretty easy.
go.
Yeah, it's a nice thing about superfill too.
There's no superfill on that.
No, not on that, but for instance, if you wanted to fill in the gaps where the extra door to your tip weights are, you could cover it up a little bit with a little bit of superfill mashed into the cracks.
There won't be any superfill there either. Once you put dope on it, sand it flat, and tissue over it, it's gone.
Can't tell. Yeah.
Now, do you use a lot of CA to cover up those mistakes or cover up those repairs? You just keep using CA and wiping it and sand it, and wiping it and sand it.
No. I use as little glue as I possible. I made 5 stabilizers for my airplane.
Wow.
And I thought the molded one would be the lightest. It's not. The plank is the lightest.
Wow.
One thing I did learn, and it ain't by much. They're all 3 ounces. 3 and 3. ounces in a tenth or 3 ounces in 5 grams, you know, somewhere right at 3 ounces. One thing I did learn is the glue weighs 10 grams.
Yeah.
Yeah, Wendy, what you were saying, Charles, Wendy was fond of that for filling little dings. He would sand and CA and sand and CA and fill it
Yeah.
like that.
That
But we
glue's
used a lot of CA on those planes. I never knew that you could use it that extensively until I started watching him build.
Right.
Wendy is one hell of a finisher. His airplanes are beautiful, but they're heavy.
Yeah,
Paint
that's
with
what I've heard.
If you want to aspire to be somebody, aspire to finish like Billy Warwick, because his planes are beautiful and they don't weigh anything. I don't know how he does it.
There's not a lot of information about it. I think what Bob Hunt has. Does Bob Hunt have a DVD on Bill Willard's finish or not?
No. See, Billy came from a time period. Well, I flew back then too, but I'm a little behind him. He's older than me by 10 years. Maybe a little more than that, maybe 15 years. Anyway, that time period, everything was a secret. Nobody would tell anything, tell anybody anything. So
Okay.
that's what I tried to change with my stunt videos and stuff. Hey, I tell anybody anything, it don't matter.
Right. And Wendy too. He said the same thing. It was always a big secret, and he wanted to. His idea was to get everybody to be able to put a good finish on a plane and build a good plane, and then compete and see who really was the best pilot.
But the thing about Wendy is that he is a painter. Anybody can put a finish on an airplane if you put enough paint on it.
Right.
Billy is a sander. And I thought I'm a sander, but here I'm building another airplane. I got the lightest wood as possible, and it's the same size as his P-47, and going to have a third one that I just was, kind of dabbling out the weights. It's going to be 62 ounces again. How he got his Thunderbolt at 52 ounces, that's 10 ounces lighter. I got no clue. I got absolutely no clue.
Now, could it have been lighter wood than back then? Did they have better wood back before?
Contest wood is 4 to 6 pounds. I got 4.5 pound wood. So if he's got 3.5 pound wood, it would be so punky it would fold up. So I don't think so. I don't see it. I just don't.
Well, you know more than I do.
If it's not in the, this block that I'm going to use on the nose, this 3.5 pound wood. If it's not in the under 4, in the 4 pound range, I don't use it on my airplane. I'm not going to put that much work into an airplane and have it come out heavy. Because once you fly a light airplane, you'll go, well, I'll never do that again. You'll never build a heavy one.
Yeah, once you fly a light plane, okay, yeah, you never build a heavy one again. Yeah. Yeah. Are you gonna go to VSC this year?
No. That's too far for me to go. That's a long ass haul. Almost 2,000 miles.
That's what it's gonna be like for me to go to the Nats.
Yeah. Are you going?
I'm really seriously considering it. I'm trying to. My wife and kids haven't been to Ohio. My most of my kids haven't been back there, and Ohio. I guess from where my wife's grandparents lives is only like an hour and a half, 2 hours from Muncie. So
She must
it's actually self-serving. I'm actually selling and spinning it as a family reunion.
Yeah.
But I will most likely uh, drive the 2 hours. Maybe I can borrow someone's car, maybe a family member or something, and drive to Muncie and
Where you
stay in a hotel.
where are you going in Ohio?
Um, I know one place is, I think it's called Westminster, something like that, or Minster.
Or
It's
what?
on the west side of Ohio. Like I said, it's about an hour and a half, 2 hours from Muncie to where my wife's grandparents live, and she has uncles and aunts that live there as well.
Oh, we'll see how far it is from me. Maybe I'll just pick you up and we'll go, because I'm only an hour from Muncie.
Yeah. So are you gonna stay there in a hotel all week or what?
Probably. You ain't far. That man, I could pick you up easy. That you're on Westminster's only 15 minutes from me.
Yeah, let's get together.
Let's see here. Wait a minute. That's 75. That's maybe not. Need to find 70. No, you're about, I'd say probably 45 minutes to an hour from me. Union City, Greenville. Are you sure it's Westminster, not Winchester?
Yeah, it's not Winchester. No Winchester, no. I'll find out and then email you.
You're about that far from me.
That's funny. Yeah, so I'm thinking what I've been entertaining is maybe building a crate and ship my plane by Greyhound. My family and I are going to fly out, and with her family, it doesn't matter if we come in Indianapolis or come in Columbus. Doesn't make much difference. So I'm trying to find a least expensive flight.
Fly into Dayton.
Say again?
Fly into Dayton.
I'll check and see. I've been using Cheap Air and some other search engines, and I've been using Indianapolis or Columbus. I can always add Dayton.
Got a comment from Ron on the telephone connection. He says that talking about light planes, he says different glues weigh more or less the same. The secret to lightweight may lie in that, assuming finish and wood are a constant. I think the finish is a huge part of a light plane, and wood, of course.
Finish is a big part of light because finish can weigh anywhere between 6 and 16 ounces.
Yeah, I used to, when I was just getting started in building, I used to hugely underestimate how much all that paint I sprayed on was. And that wasn't even dope. That was just rattle can Rust-Oleum back then. So I was probably adding huge amounts of weight that were unnecessary and acting surprised when I put them on the scales.
At least I did something on my airplane tonight. Got the sheeting on top.
Good. We got a slim crowd tonight. Wonder what everybody's doing. Maybe they're tired from the weekend. And some nights that start out slow like this end up being shoulder to shoulder about 11:30 or a quarter of 12.
Oh yeah, I've been guilty of joining the show late myself several times.
Yeah, Steve Hines is frequently a late arrival.
Yeah, and Steve McBride also.
Yeah, yeah, he's come in at 5 minutes till 12 a few times lately.
What about Gerald? I haven't seen him in a while.
He was on he was in his shop working on planes on Friday night and was communicating with us through YouTube. And they were going flying Saturday morning, so he had a lot to do and didn't have time to get on the show with his camera.
Oh, that's right. I remember it's summertime where he's at.
That's right. Yeah, they're busy. They got contests and fun flies and all kind of stuff going on.
Oh yeah, and he's busy repairing planes between his wife and his kids.
Christmas in the summer's got to be pretty cool, man. You can get stuff and run outside and play with your new airplane, bicycle, or whatever you got. And when we get cool new stuff for Christmas, is freaking snowing or sleeting or rainy or something windy and cold outside. We can't do anything. We forget about them by spring.
Huh.
So I don't know how Santa Claus gets around with all that, with all that hot hot driving. How's he land on a house with no snow?
Well, I told my kids when they were young, Santa Claus is a man with a costume.
Yeah.
He's riding in his air-conditioned Mercury.
We let our son go on for a while with the Santa Claus fantasy, but I'm not sure he ever really believed it. And we finally asked him one Christmas Eve. I think Holly said, "You know who Santa Claus really is?" And he said, "Y'all," with a questioning rise at the end of his statement. And so, yeah, he knew. And my mom said she doesn't think I ever believed in Santa Claus either.
Santa Claus is not a person; it's a concept.
Yeah, you're right.
Saint Nicholas was a real person,
right?
And he used to give things to the kids. Or what? It's like I say, it's a concept, but it doesn't hurt to let them believe in the concept.
Not for a while. No, I agree. Different parents feel different ways about it, but a little fibbing about it when they're so young that it's fun. I think that's fun.
About 5 years ago, maybe it's been 10 years ago, I played Santa Claus for my old lady's brother's kids. And the reason I did that was when I was a kid, Ted Pettit down the street played Santa Claus for me, and he brought me this F4F, a die-cast model, and I loved that thing, and here comes Santa Claus, and he brought me this die-cast F4F. I wish I still had it. And I just thought it was so cool. And so I played Santa Claus for Jimmy's kids. And at that time, it had to be longer than 10 years ago. It's probably more like 20 years ago now. Because I was working for Lorenz Roofing, and I was their mechanic. And during the winter, we had to chip out the tar trucks. So you get inside that big hopper, and you chip out all that hardened tar from inside there. And I had great big lumps of tar. They looked like coal. So I put them in a bag, and I gave them to Jimmy. I gave the kids a toy, and I gave Jimmy a lump of coal. And from what I understand is when I left, the kid asked his wife, "Why did Santa Claus give Dad a lump of coal?"
He was a bad kid.
It was funny. We laughed.
Yeah.
That's what you get when you're a bad boy or girl. You get a lump of coal.
You get coal. That's right. Lumps of coal. That's what you get for Christmas.
I bet those kids will never forget that, though.
Nope.
That year
actually did give his girlfriend a lump of coal one time because we had neighbor that burned coal in their uh, um, place indoors, and so where they'd had a coal piled in the driveway, we went down and got a lump, and he gift wrapped it and put it under the Christmas tree for her.
That year I got that F4F airplane. I also got a pump car. That thing was so much fun to ride. You steer with your feet, and to make it go, you move the handle back and forth. God, it hauled ass. It was great.
Was it metal?
Yeah, it was metal, yellow. Yellow with, yeah, it had small tires on the front, about yay big around. You steer with your feet, and that was black. It had great big tires on the back, and the body was yellow, had a black seat, and the handle was black, and then wood handles on it, and it hauled ass. You could do a wheelie if you pulled hard enough on it.
Wow.
They don't make toys like that no more.
No, I remember little metal cars when I was a kid that we pedaled, but I think they had a little steering wheel and a steering linkage up front.
Yeah, you can still buy them cars. Them cars are really expensive, the antique ones.
Yeah.
The
And
ones
of course the radio flyer wagons, those things were indestructible. They last forever, just about.
I had the girl across the street tow me around in my radio flyer. I had reins on her. Had a little car seat in the back. And she used to tow me around.
Women abuse.
Yeah, it was.
You guys remember the magazine Boys Life?
Yeah, I do.
Well, they had a article on a go-kart, and my dad and I, we built this go-kart. I used to go down a hill in it. But you know, most of go-karts you'd steer with your feet and a rope that kind of, you know, tied to either end, right?
Yeah.
This go-kart actually had a wooden steering wheel that worked, and it was in the plans, and my dad and I built it, and that was something I will never forget. I wish I had pictures of it.
Our whole neighborhood used to build those, and we had a huge steep incline with a curve, and then another shallower incline with a circle. It was a dead end road at the bottom, and then
yeah,
there was a lake below that. But you could really go fast on those hills, and we'd use lawnmower wheels or whatever we could dig up and slap them together with a big bolt through the 2x4 with the wheels on it up front.
Right.
And man, we had such big fun with those. And then there's this friend who always, his dad made sure whatever he had was better than everybody else's. And so he had a carpenter build his son a go-kart to race with us. And he'd go out there, and of course it had ball bearing wheels and stuff. None of us had spoked wheels, you know, with air in the tires. And and so he'd go out there and just whipping us up left and right, but we didn't give him any credit for winning because he didn't build his own.
Right.
And we got big laughs out of it though, and I think he always drug it home wondering what was the matter with our attitude, you know. But that's the way he was raised. So you
guys had the BOM rule even when you was kids.
Yeah, that's right. We didn't know it, but that's what it was.
Build the model rule.
Sounds like my go-karts and yours were identical.
Well, mine had, like I said, it had a steering wheel. I mean, the rope.
Oh, that's right. You did have a steering wheel. That's cool.
Mine had a steering wheel. The rope went through the basically the steering wheel axle, and then it had a handbrake. I mean, this go-kart was really nice.
Oh, we had handbrakes too, but it was basically a stick with a nail in it that you would pull up and it would drag on the ground. I don't know that they ever really slowed us down much or not, but
yeah, I know. I don't know if it really it seemed to help, but basically you was just, the harder you pulled it would slow you down. But yeah, it had all that. It was
the harder you pulled it, the shorter the stick got.
I imagine it did get shorter and shorter over time. But yeah, that was a lot of fun, and it was so neat to be able to steer with the steering wheel. It's almost like driving a car.
It's amazing none of us died doing that. because this was a neighborhood that was still under construction. So we had vacant lots with partially built houses at one of the curves, you know, and there was boards with nails pointing straight up, and hey, we never got injured by any of that stuff. I mean, we drew blood, but it was mostly from road rash, you know.
Right. You know, I'm convinced that we were just different because, you know, kids today, they have shin guards and wrist guards and gloves and helmets,
Helmets. Yeah.
pad, all kinds of
We
stuff.
didn't have any of that stuff. We had a lot of band-aids at home.
Yeah, we would just go out there and ride our bicycle, and but you buy a bicycle today and it has padding all over the neck of the steering wheel. You know, everything's all. These kids are so coddled.
They are weak. They
Say
would
again?
never, kids of today are weak. They would have never survived our childhood.
No, and I think that's partly part of problem. We can't get kids to fly these small airplanes. You know, maybe an electric they might go for, but to flip a prop, kid today would be
Might
scared.
cut your finger. Yeah, you might cut your finger. Gosh.
Something terrible might happen.
Well, common sense goes a long way. You don't stick your finger into a thing spinning around at 10,000 RPM.
That's right. Terry Forbes put it in a funny way the other night, and I can't remember exactly how it goes, but never flip a running engine is what it amounted to, but his rhymed better than mine. I forgot what he said.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Never flip engine.
How come Terry's not on anymore?
I think he's watching us from the shadows. Yeah, he's been on the YouTube side lately. He just doesn't say a lot.
Well, guys, it's my bedtime.
Okay, Sparky. Well, thanks for joining us.
Yeah.
Me and Charles will hold down the show.
Yeah, we'll hold down. I'm hoping someone else comes in. I'd like to work on my airplane too.
All right, guys. Good night.
All right, Sparky. See you later. See you Friday.
Blessings. Yeah, well, you know, it's always we got to get new blood, you know, and nothing revives something like a new blood.
Yeah, you know, I'm thinking electric might be the best thing that's happened to the possibility of control line gaining any popularity, but you know, I could be just wishful thinking.
I'm really highly vested in glow. I mean, I have a drawer full of glow engines and stuff. So, but I hope to, you know, Kevin McElroy, he's actually he's actually putting together an electric plane for me. I have remember that orange T-Rex that was in the back?
Yeah.
T-Rex. Well, that was actually an electric T-Rex minus all the electric stuff. It was given to me like that with nothing in it, but it was an electric plane. And so I gave it to Kevin. Kevin to, and I had a flying buddy of mine who I hadn't flown with except for in contests. He actually gave me everything but batteries because he wanted me to try electric. And so, so hopefully in short order, Kevin will finish this T-Rex, and I'll get a chance to try electric for the first time. And I'm looking forward to it. And I love glow. Don't get me wrong. I love when I have a really good running motor and all that kind of stuff. But you know, there's so much relying on that. You know, having good fuel, the weather, everything is so variable. Where electric, the motor part, you'll get a consistent run every single time.
When everybody had glow, it was just another challenging part of the hobby that everybody had to do as part of competing. Who could make their engine run the best had a lot to do with who could fly the best, and that's one of my favorite parts of the hobby. But it's become now where you know, if you want to seriously compete on a consistent basis with a plane that flies the same every time, electric is the obvious way to go.
Especially like on the world stage. I mean, maybe I mean, I don't find, at least in advance, I don't find a whole lot of competition being dominated by electrics. But at the expert level,
Yeah,
definitely see it there. But in advance, most of us in advance are flying glow. I imagine, when I go to the Nats, I might see it a lot more electric. But here in California, um, I don't think I've ever competed against an electric. And if I did, I don't remember. I know Dennis is. I think he's a little bit curious. Dennis Nunez. He's even though he's building that road jet right now. I know he was seemed to be intrigued when he's talking to Bob Hunt. But
yeah,
myself personally, I have spent. And when I get a plane built and I finally get it going, um, man, it takes me a lot of flights just to get the motor trimmed the way I like. So it's running the same no matter wherever it's at in the hemisphere. It takes me a while to get that set up. Then once I get that, then I start trimming how the plane flies. It'd be nice just to eliminate that one step of not having to worry about how it flies inverted or upright. If it's electric, it'll just run the same no matter what, and you get the same engine run every time.
yeah,
You know, 'Cause I've had some flights where I go out there and it's like, oh man, I missed the needle. It's running too fat. Man, I missed the needle. It's running too lean.
yeah. And
You know,
you try to force it to do what you want it to do because you only get what 3 tries for 2 officials. So
yeah. Now when I'm practicing, if there's a rotation, I'm gonna try to do some stuff because I got to wait, 3 or 4 other pilots before I get a chance to fly again. And then you're risking your plane. Either scenario, if it's running too rich, it's going to get loose on top of 45, or it's running too fast. It's hard to keep ahead of the plane, and you can lose the plane that way because you got behind it. Um, and so there's waste there. So I'm kind of intrigued. The Thunder Gazer is my future, and the plans do show electric conversion. So I plan on building several Thunder Gazers. One of them would definitely be electric, God willing.
yeah, we had a pretty good discussion in here one night about how planes that were originally built for glow didn't convert nearly as well to electric as a plane that was
Yeah.
designed for electric.
Yes. Yeah. And that's true. I don't have any designs that were electric designs. I don't have one set of plans that's an electric plane. All the my ideas or designs would be a conversion, but that'd be interesting to even see. I don't even know of an electric design. I mean, I know Paul Walker's P-47 he made was an electric, but I don't know if there's plans for it or not. And then Chris, the guy from Canada.
Chris Rudd?
No, from Canada. Chris Howard, is it?
I don't know.
Yeah, I think his plane was featured in on the cover of Stunt News not too long ago. Now it's an electric.
There's a Chris Cox who's
Chris Cox, yes.
Oh,
Chris
okay.
Cox.
I got it.
Yeah, I wonder if if he has plans for that. But I was an electric plane, from scratch. So that would be interesting to build a electric plane that's actually an electric plane from the get go.
Yeah. Um, as much as I'm stuck on internal combustion, I would like to have one electric plane just for convenience sake. That I could just if I'm not feeling like taking the whole flight box and everything, I just want to go fly some. I just want to go fly some patterns. I don't want to mess with anything else. It would be nice to be able to grab that, go out, and put up a few flights, throw it back in the car, and come home. That sounds appealing to me.
Yeah, Kevin McRoy, when he comes out with his electric planes, he just has a small little toolbox, and he always comments that he doesn't need all that stuff that I bring. Of course, now I bring a lot because I actually set up the cones. And I'm a really big proponent. I'm really a big on safety first, you know. So I do a lot of things extra that some flyers just take for granted. They just go out to the park and I just start flying. But you know, I go out there and put out a circle with cones and
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. And even my, you know, my stooge, when my stooge is down, it's not only is it staked down, I have a paver holding it down, and then when I put the flying lines out to the center of the circle, I stake the down line. So I mean, I do a lot of things just to make things as safe as possible.
Yeah.
And but not everybody does that, so I carry a lot of stuff. But as far as electric, all Kevin brings is just I think his batteries and his lines. You know, that's all he needs.
Does he have a charging station where he flies?
No, he'll just bring out, you know, 3 charge batteries.
Yeah.
And then he'll just basically do that. Um, Someone was telling me that Orestes Hernandez at the World Championships, I think he flew upwards of 20 flights. So he must have had a lot of batteries and a charging station or something, obviously, to do that every day in preparation for the championship.
Yeah.
You know, in France. And that's expensive when you think of good quality batteries. Whatever he had, you know, that's a lot of batteries.
Yeah, Jackson Avley comments about electric. He said there'd probably be new and other problems with electric also. Nothing's perfect in a demanding hobby like your hobby. And so I guess meaning precision aerobatics being a demanding hobby. Yeah. Yeah, you're right. I mean, it's a learning curve we have to overcome, and batteries can fail. You know, there's still a lot to know. There's a huge learning curve that I haven't even begun to climb, Jack.
Yeah. Well, my flying companion, I've seen him fly for 15 years, and I've never seen him crash IC motor, internal combustion motor. But he was doing electric, and I've seen 2 of the 3 electric uh, failures that ended up being a crash, you know, in recent history. So
yeah,
there is definitely a learning curve. Um, and
I've never seen Wayne crash a plane, and he's converted to electric. So I think since I have been out of the sport for a while now, that he's kind of moved on to other things because he doesn't really have another real good flying buddy. I think there's a couple of people, but um, they're not as it's not as convenient for him as it was for me. And I don't know. We just me and Wayne made good partners. So maybe we can. I hope we can get back to that. He's gotten into those soaring planes now with the long wings, beautiful birds, and he puts them up with an electric motor and then shuts it off and rides thermals, and he's really good at that. Because he before he was ever doing model soaring, he was doing full scale soaring, so he's pretty good at that.
Okay.
He's one of the most multi-talented individuals I've ever met.
Wow, you're really fortunate to have that. Yeah, you know, having a good, you know, that's an interesting topic. A really good flying partner, because that can really make a difference in your life.
Yeah, makes it a
like
hell of a lot more fun. And just for nothing else, that when it's time to sit down in your lawn chair and have a Coke and a sandwich or whatever, you know, just talking about stuff, airplanes or whatever, and how do you mesh with? And we have similar interests.
You know, when I'm trying to trim my planes, I actually like flying by myself, because I can get a lot of reps in, and I can try something, go fly it, and see what it does, and then make an adjustment, go fly it again, and just keep going. Where you really can't do that when you have a flying partner or even a flying party. But I do like having the fellowship. You know, once I get my plane squared away, I want to go out there and just have fellowship, because
Yeah.
everything is squared away. I can go out there and just fill it up, flip it one turn, go fly the pattern and land, and then let someone else fly, and I enjoy that interaction we have. But um, so I like them both. I like flying by myself, and I like
Yeah.
having
Wayne
good.
is a meticulous trimmer. I think he likes flying trim flights more than he likes flying the pattern sometimes. But so that helped. I've learned a lot about trimming from him. Hey,
You
we
know,
got Brent is in here with us, and Brent says, once you try a well put together electric system, you'll love it. Yeah, I agree that's probably true. I can't confirm it because I've never flown one, but
same
I've
here. I
heard,
can't confirm it, but I expect that, Brent. I really, when you think about how things have progressed, it seems like most things, the ultimate thing is electric. It doesn't matter what we're talking about, not necessarily model airplanes, but when things get improvements and innovations, it usually involves electric. So I am very intrigued about electric airplane because I don't think, I mean, how much, I mean, I know we have better metallurgy, we have better CNC machines, we can make better engines, but there's is a limit to that. But with electrics, I don't think there's a limit.
they're not nearly as subject to Mother Nature, barometric pressure and humidity and
Right,
temperature, all those things.
right,
Fuel content, old fuel, new fuel, stale fuel, fresh fuel.
right.
Yeah,
But I still think it's possible. You look at Dave Fitzgerald. I mean, he's still dominating with
yeah.
the internal
I love,
combustion.
like I said earlier, I love the challenge of getting the IC engine to run right, and I love it when they fly right, and they're just irritating when they don't. But it's part of the game to me, and I miss that. That's not part of everybody's game anymore.
Yeah. So I want to try it, see what it's like personally.
Oh, I'm gonna lose my California buddy to electric now.
Well, I mean, we'll see. I mean, I'm going to fly one. I mean, this is a T-Rex. I mean, it's an ARF, and I don't think it's going to be the iconic flyer, but it definitely give me an idea what it's like. I'm
Yeah,
intrigued. So um, we'll see.
Brent
Um,
says there's less voodoo with electric, less emphasis on magic props, super fuel, etc. Yeah, that's true.
well,
And
the that system that Bob Hunt is working on, that Igor system. I mean, that sounds like it's pretty sophisticated. I'm sure there's a lot of adjustments there, and even Dorn was talking about that. I mean, a couple of weeks ago or a month ago, they were talking about how they could slow the plane down on the down leg of a square. I mean, that just totally intrigued me. That got my
yeah,
attention. I mean, if I could get to slow down the down leg of a square, I mean, that would be just be like, wow. Whereas an IC, I mean, the only thing we have that can kind of slow it down is a tuned pipe. And I haven't experienced that either. I don't know what that's like. I know Steve McBride, he's experiencing that with his Thundergazer, which is on pipe. And then shortly, when Dennis Nunes finishes his Circulus 61, that's going to be a tuned pipe, and maybe he'll experience that also.
I've never flown a piped engine before either.
Neither have I. I have some pipe engines. Like I said, I've been investing in this hobby on a beer budget. You know, so I find some opportunities on eBay or what have you, and so I have. I mean, this is kind of old technology. The 40 and the 46 VF. Those were at one time. Those were the stuff. Of
Yeah,
course, now we moved on to PA motors and such. But so I have those, and those would fit in. The Thunder Gazer, I think, would do well with that. So would the uh, Pathfinder I'm building. So it's
yeah. Brent says most electric flyers use cheap APC props and they work great. And motors are sized by need aside from Igor's system. Is very straightforward stuff. Yeah, those APC props are, other than being uglier than hell, they're the best props for IC planes as far as I'm concerned. Until you get into the high end expert stuff, which I'm not. I'm not there yet. Let's see who's on my phone. Yeah.
I have a few carbon fiber props. Um, but yeah, the electrics seem to get by with just an APC prop. But I've seen some exotic wooden electric props by Turnigy. I think that's how you say Turnigy.
Yeah. Energy.
Yeah, they make some exotic electric props.
Yeah. Oh, Ryan Cribbs chimed in. He says, I get the consistency of electric, but a large part of the experience is the sound and smell. Also, anybody can get a good engine run with electric, but a bigger challenge is to do it with IC. Yeah, that's pretty much what I'm saying too. I love that part of the hobby.
Yes, I do too. I mean, it's my my Vector right now is that LA-46 with a reduced size Venturi, um, with a tongue muffler, with a Zord 12.4. I'm getting excellent motor run. I mean, I know I mentioned earlier that I missed the needle from time to time, but that might be after when I changed the Venturi and I experienced that. So now it's pretty much right there in there as long as I don't change anything,
Yeah.
I go out there and it pretty much runs the same all day because the weather's been pretty moderate lately. It's just kind of in the 60s and 70s. It's not getting super hot where I have to add more nitro or go in a needle. It's pretty steady. But it's just when you first are flying, at least in my experience, when I'm first flying a plane, it takes a while to get the tank shimmed, or in my case, I've had to shim the engines. And I had the same thing with the stalker. It took me a while to get that stalker squared away. But once I got that stalker
Oh, yeah. I
squared away,
remember that thing was driving you nuts for a while.
oh, absolutely. But once I finally got it dialed in, that stalker is a neat sounding motor because it has a big, the muffler is a really big tube. I mean, it's big in diameter, and it really makes that. I mean, that stalker, when it's running, it is a little bit noisier than an electric plane. I mean, and it's a 81, so it's a deep sound, and
Yeah, got a nice throaty growl to it.
yeah, and it was just people would go, "What motor is that?" I mean, it would intrigue people when they finally see it, and so there's something about it, no doubt. A good sounding motor, I like it when you hear a really nice motor. What is Brent saying?
He's saying,
Oh,
well, he says electric helps preserve neighborhood flying sites as well.
yeah.
The fun police are always out there waiting to put a boot on the neck of anything that makes noise. And before that, he said when glow fuel passes $40 a gallon, the lipo price is gonna not be an issue so much.
Yeah, that's true. And that Power Master is expensive. I
$40. I'm still paying 20 or 25 for my Power Master.
That's not too bad. But I actually bought some 5%, 5%. What was it? A Mega, which is the half caster and half synthetic. Out the door, I think I paid $15.99.
Wow, really?
Yeah. I have a hobby shop out here that they I think it's just a lost leader for them. So they actually order fuel by the pallet. And so he's just selling the fuel as a lost leader to get people in the store. So yeah, I am, and he doesn't get Power Master. He gets Morgan Fuel. So I either get Cool Power for my stalker, or I get the Mega, which is the caster synthetic.
Is Omega made by Morgan?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know if it was.
And there is
that orange. What color is it? Omega? Is that orange? Is it orange colored?
It's pink.
Is it okay?
Pink. And then the cool power is green.
Yeah, I got a couple of gallons of that. They're probably no good anymore. They've been sitting under my table forever. That's what I use to shim my wings off the table when I'm building and squaring up my plane.
Have they been subject to sunlight or not?
Not really, but the
Probably
bottles are swollen.
as long as it's sealed, they should be good.
Maybe so. They must be sealed because the bottle.
Sunlight and not being sealed is the two things that'll ruin your fuel.
Yeah.
As long as that's not the case, you just try it. You know.
I think I got a couple of quarts of SIG that have not been opened yet, so that's good because it's been sitting on my shelf since 2017. Yeah, summer of 2017 is the last time I was putting fuel in a plane.
The other thing is as long as they're not on the ground, because sometimes those plastic jugs can wick in moisture from the cement.
Mine are sitting on concrete. Yeah, I don't care. It's so old. I wasn't planning on using it for anything. Wayne gave it to me because he didn't want it. I'll probably either give it to somebody because I don't want it or find some way to dispose of it.
You always can use it to break in motors.
That's true. Just don't put it in Cox engines. I've heard it'll eat them alive on the first run or two.
Which one's that? The cool power or the mega?
The green fuel.
Yeah. You know, I know that there's some people that swear off of Omega fuels. You know, they swear off the cool power or the Omega, and it's like, I mean, that's all I've been using for years. You know, and I have never ruined an engine to my knowledge using that stuff. But I've heard other people say they have used that stuff and it's ruined their motors.
Well, the person I trust that says they've ruined Cox engines was also a speed guy, and he built Cox engines for speed. And so that may be the difference between eating one alive and happily flying along, because he's out there screaming fast and
oh yeah,
run it more in its designed power band. It may last a lot longer. You know, if you're running 16,000 RPMs instead of 26, you might
exactly
get a better life out of it.
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, but I've heard of stunt guys kissing off cool power and just saying they'll never put in their motors ever again. They lost a motor or what have you. And
there's so many different types of metals and designs in stunt engines. You just can't say that as a general statement and expect it to be accurate. So
yeah, I'm just saying I've heard that, and I just like, well, you know, I always spike my fuel with more synthetic or more synthetic end caster. Or
I think most ABC engines will run without caster just fine as long as you got enough cooling for them, but they might tend to overheat because that's one of the big advantages of caster is it goes through the engine, comes out carrying a lot of heat through the exhaust out of the engine, so that you know, if you can eliminate the heat problem, then pure synthetic might run fine.
yeah, Mike Lonke says that he brews his own, and I have done that too, Mike. When on my stalker, I have been running it on zero nitro. That hobby store that I mentioned, they can no longer get FIA fuel for me, so I actually have in my garage, you know, 5 gallon methanol, and I have a gallon of Klotz temper plate, and I have a gallon of Sig uh, castor oil. So I mix my own fuel for my stalker, but it's cheaper for me. Like for this LA 46, I mean, like I said, you can't beat 15.99 for a gallon of fuel. But I end up adding just like I think I add 7 ounces of extra oil to it to bring it up to 22% oil. And so you just can't beat that. If I was to make it myself, it would cost me more than that. And I also have nitro. I have a took me a while to get it, but I actually have so I have everything in my I have everything I need to make my own fuel. But it's not always cost effective.
What kind of container do you keep your nitro in? Metal?
The metal container, yeah. All metal. There's no plastic neck or anything.
Yeah.
I hate the Power Master can. I wish they would have it all metal. I hate that plastic neck in that metal can. You know the how?
Oh,
You know,
yeah. You mean the spout, the pouring spout? Yeah.
yeah, you cannot stand that. I wish they would keep it all metal.
I figured that spout seals from air leaks better than a metal cap would. You don't think so?
I don't know.
What is it you don't like about the plastic?
Well, it wears out.
Hmm.
I mean, I have because what happens is I buy the fuel I buy in the hobby stores in a plastic jug, and so I pour it into a Power Master can, and then I'm always adding fuel to it. So I eventually wear out the plastic neck on the Power Master can.
Okay. Yeah.
So what I have been doing, I have I have a painter who lives near me, and when I see him throwing away an acetone can or a paint thinner can, which has all metal, I'll say, hey,
Yeah.
can I get that from you?
You can go
And
down to the Sherwin-Williams store and buy those things, those cans too. I think they're kind of expensive though, but
yeah, they are. They're actually called an F style can, and on the internet they're kind of expensive. You have to buy a minimum, and if not a minimum, they're still expensive. I just try to find them whenever I can find one that's deserted. I snag it. If I see someone with a can and gonna discard, I go, can I get that? And they probably think I'm strange, but so I've accumulated several cans, and I have the carton that they come in sometimes, so I can stack them because I have different planes. Some planes like 5%, some planes like 10%, some
yeah.
planes like this and that, and so it's and so I've labeled my cans too. When I get around to it, I'm gonna paint them too, so I can kind of at a glance know what I have.
Have you ever lowered your nitro from? Oh, wait a minute! I gotta let Steve Hines in. We got a new visitor. Hang on, Steve. I'll let you in just a second. And either you don't have any lights on or you're in. Hey,
Yeah,
Steve.
I got to turn some other lights on.
Okay.
I don't know why I'm on the tablet. I don't know why it doesn't pick up light well. I'll turn some more on.
Yeah, because I can't tell the difference. So one night I had Bob Hunt in here, and he was all dark, and I thought it was just his room. And come to find out, the next day when I rewatched the video, he wasn't even recorded on YouTube. He was completely out of the picture, sound and video. Yeah, I think we got you for real. Now let's see. I had something brilliant to say. I forgot what it was. You distracted.
He's gonna ask me about have I ever lowered the nitro.
Oh yeah, if you ever lowered nitro just because you needed to increase your fuel economy because you didn't have a big enough tank or something like that, have you ever changed from 10 to 5 just to get enough for a stunt run?
No, I haven't had to do that. The reason why is because here in California, my understanding, if I get a plane to set up to run the stunt pattern here in California, if I went anywhere else, I would never use more than what I have. I most likely would use less. So it's not like when I go to Arizona, which I did early last year, I had to put in a half ounce less of fuel, or else I would overrun. And so I don't necessarily have to worry about fuel economy.
So, okay. What do you think the difference between California and Arizona was?
Oh, it's the
altitude
Altitude, yeah.
in Arizona is a higher
Higher.
altitude with less air, so you have to balance it with less fuel. So so you need a little.
A lot of times you have to up the nitro, and then you'll probably burn just about as much as you do at home.
That's an idea.
Yeah, because nitromethane just has, oxygen molecules in it, so that's how you get more power.
That's an idea. I actually, that's interesting. Yeah, maybe I could try that. So I just pulled out a half ounce, and I was fine. I was curious about the power, and I was curious about the heavy plane being out there. And I was able to do fine just pulling out a half an ounce of fuel.
Get any flying in over the weekend?
No, I flew Friday, and I reported on that Friday.
Yeah.
And I wanted to fly today, Steve, and I actually went to the flying field. It looked cloudy, and I went there, but by the time I got all set up, I started hearing drops. And so today ended up being a rainy day, and I was so disappointed because I was ready to go out there and practice, practice and practice and practice. So I'll wait till later on this week.
I can't believe all the rain you guys are getting there. They said that the football game in there in Los Angeles, the sidelines were just swamps. That they were vacuuming them up water and all that kind of stuff, but they had tarps on the field and it rained it all off to the edges.
Wow, I didn't watch any football, but
are y'all setting low temperature records in Southern California?
I don't know if it's a record because I felt lower temperatures than today. I mean, it's been cold. My wife is in a lot of pain. Her body, she's like,
cold makes her hurt.
Yeah. It makes her hurt. She hurts.
She has some chronic everything in your body up.
Yeah, she has some chronic issues as it is, but this kind of weather really makes her really uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I mean, to the point where it's like, if I touch her, it hurts.
How cold has it been getting there?
60s.
In the 60s lately, but I've seen it colder than that. A couple of months ago, it was colder than that.
Oh, okay.
Bob Bishop just said hi to us. He says he's just checking in. He's on the fly tonight, though, so he can only hang for a few minutes here and there.
Cool.
Well, good evening, Bob.
Well, then you don't want to bring her here because next Sunday we were supposed to be down to 4
degrees. Wow.
It was 12 here this morning.
Wow. Yeah, I don't even know what that's like. I can't even remember what the coldest temperatures I've been in. I mean, since I've been an adult. Because when I was a kid, my dad was in the Navy, so we was in Groton, Connecticut, Norfolk, Virginia.
Oh, so you've been to cold country before. But
I was a little kid now. I don't remember that. I have pictures of me all bundled up, but I don't know. Yeah, and my sister lives in Nebraska. She lives in Lincoln. It gets cold there.
Brent says it's 18 degrees Fahrenheit right now in Ogden, Utah.
Wow, that's cold for them. Yeah, I don't know what. I can tell you what it is here. It's my phone. 29 right now here.
Wow, that's cold.
Yeah, we're supposed to get freezing rain, but we didn't get any, so we may get snow.
Oh, I'm glad about that. What about your calls? Did your service calls skyrocket?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what was really weird is I had 4 calls today, and they were all too hot.
Yeah. Really?
Yeah, I walked in one lady's apartment. I bet you it's 95 degrees in there.
Wow, that's hot.
Had a hot water valve stick open. And what these boilers do as temperature goes down, the boiler water comes up. Well, it was sticking and it wasn't fully shut. So once they went to 180-degree water, it overheated that room like crazy. But when it's running, 110-degree water, it's not quite as bad when something's leaking through.
Bob Bishop says it's 26 Fahrenheit here in Reading, Pennsylvania. And Jack Snavely says he mixed, just for the hell of it, see what happens. He mixed fuel from the yellow bottle of the gas additive called Heat. Actually, it's HEET. And some drugstore castor. And yeah, that's the FAI fuel, just with no nitro. That yellow bottle Heat is pure methanol. So yeah, good stuff. Just don't get it on you. And that stuff is real bad for you. So yeah, you keep your fingers out of the methanol if you can.
So Heat is sold in the drugstore?
No, Heat, he got castor oil from the drugstore, and he got the Heat from the auto parts store.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you don't want to.
Our drugstores probably sell Heat too. They got automotive sections these days in drugstores, but I've done that too. I don't know that drugstore castor is very good. It doesn't seem to mix well with me. I used to add some to my Sig Champion, and I remember a couple of times when the bottle was empty, there was a 1/4 inch of castor still stuck to the bottom of the bottle.
Oh, okay.
And so it settles out. So I after that, I'd be sure and shake it up before I used it every time, which is not a good. You don't want to shake your fuel up before you use it if you can help it, but you can filter it. But still, anything that settles is better.
It should be the same thing, except it's filtered one more time. They make sure they get all the hulls out of the castor.
Yeah.
The little flaky,
Yeah,
that's
right.
it
Send suspension in there. Yeah, that might be. We had bad batches of Sig foul and glow plugs one time, and that it could have been something like that. Might be the reason. But Jack went on to say that he ran the stuff in his Hornet 09, but he lost 1,000 RPMs, and that's because of lack of nitro. Vitamin N makes them go fast. So
Vitamin N.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're mixing fuel with Heat and castor oil from the drugstore, you're talking some expensive fuel.
Yeah, well, he was just playing with it, experimenting. I mixed up a bottle for breaking in an MP Jet, a little Czechoslovakian 061 internal combustion engine, and the instruction said to use method. Let's see, 80/20 methanol and castor and no nitro. So I broke it in with that. I couldn't get it to crank. I had to crank it with a nitro prime, and then it would and then I'd fill the tank up with the FAI fuel and then prime it with 35% half A fuel, and it cranked up and it ran okay. But I decided that was not necessary. It's just an ABC engine like any other. So that's just the Czechoslovakian way, I think. But those little MP Jets are badass engines.
Yeah.
I got one factory race special and one bushed MP Jet.
If you guys are curious, it's 52 degrees here with a low of 49.
Tonight? Oh, okay. That's getting cool for out there.
Yeah. Tonight it is, right now it's 46 degrees outside. And let's see, tomorrow, I think it's supposed to get up to, let's see, tomorrow afternoon. It's taking too long to load. I don't know. It'll probably get up to 55, 56, something like that.
I think Al says 19 degrees out there in Lebanon, New Jersey.
Oh, hey, Al, I didn't see you come in. Yeah, 19 degrees. That's cold enough for me.
Is he on, he can hear us.
He's on the tube.
Yeah, did they get a lot of snow? that snow that came through there. And
Yeah, I don't know. Lebanon, New Jersey. Al, did y'all get a lot of snow? Let's see if he answers us.
I see like 6 people died from the snowstorm, but probably, shoveling or whatever.
Yeah, I hear about that happening. Okay, Ron Cribbs is checking out. Said he's headed to bed, and he said the show was kind of fun. This was his first time on it. Wanted to say more, so he needs to figure out what to do to get on with us, either YouTube or video. Thanks for hanging out, and catch you later. All right, see you later, Ron. Sleep tight, and I hope you have safe travels tomorrow.
Sorry, speaking of you. Al says no snow, just dusting.
Okay. Yeah, we got no snow. Well, we got a little dust and a snow in the yard, but further south, 20 minutes south, there is no snow. I mean, I haven't had to shovel or anything this year yet, or snow blow or nothing. But we get this real cold air, and we get a west wind of any kind of velocity. We will get the snow then, because Lake Michigan is still unfrozen. So we'll get lake effect. Shit, we can get a foot of snow easy overnight sometimes with lake effect snow.
You said lake effect?
Yeah, off of Lake Michigan. All the humidity that cold air comes across Lake Michigan with all the humidity and just dumps on us. You can go 60 miles east and they will have no snow. We get two or three times as much snow here as like they do over in Flint, Sagan, Sometimes you get winds coming off the lake there coming the other direction, but you get past Lansing and they'll have no snow a lot of times in the winter, and we'll have a foot.
Al says they had a foot over in D.C. where his son lives.
Yeah. Yeah, that pretty much puts the kibosh on driving unless you got 4-wheel drive or whatever.
Yeah, Subaru.
Yeah. I think it's It's today the 14th?
Yeah, today is the 14th.
I'm trying to remember what the time we had the blizzard here. Maybe it was the 21st. And that's when cars were buried on the expressway and everything else.
Brent says they get significant lake effect snow where he lives along the Wasatch Front due to the Great Salt Lake. Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah, it'll pick it up there. Well, that's like Buffalo here a couple years ago. Got all that snow that filled the stadium up. They were trying to shovel the stadium out. Hell, it was so deep that you couldn't see seats in there and stuff like that.
Oh, my.
From a band of lake effect snow that it comes in bands. It looks really, if you see the radar, it'll be, I don't know, 30, 40 miles wide and maybe 60 miles long coming in and off the lake. And then there'll be a space with no snow, and then there'll be another band. And if the bands don't move and they stay there for a while, it will just dump snow.
Okay. Terry Forbes says, "Hey Al, thanks for the show and tell last Friday."
Oh, I missed that. I didn't even see Terry's post. Okay.
Yeah, I got on Macoa and tried to find a piston and stuff, but I don't see it on there. I probably have to call. So I'm gonna get one of them pistons like Al did and put it in a lightning case. Oh no, we got swap meet starting to come up, so
he swapped aluminum piston for he swapped out a steel piston for an aluminum. Is that what he did?
Yeah, the ring on it stuff. Yeah.
Oh, so he's got a ring. He swapped a ringed piston out and put a ringless piston in.
No, he put a ringless steel piston. He took that out and put in one with a ring. That was probably I didn't ask him if it was aluminum.
I think he said it was aluminum.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because McCoy's had that funny steel piston excuse me, and that thing will wear out real easy. You better make sure you got enough oil and don't have a lean run and all that kind of stuff. And then they still wear out easy. But yeah, what he was saying is that, I never know you could do that, but there's tons of old lightning McCoys that you can buy for $5. I like it. I bought so many of them last year. They always sell them for parts, but I'll get one of them and drop a piston and ring in there like he did, and have like a brand new motor. I love how they run.
I'm gonna step away for just a second. Y'all keep an eye out for anybody that tries to join, and tell them I'll be back to let them in just a second.
All right. When do you see the doctor again?
Oh, last Thursday. How about that?
Oh, no walker anymore?
Nope. Got a cane.
Wow.
Yeah. So I got this for balance. But yeah, I'm sliding along pretty good. So I'll be right back.
All right.
All righty.
Oh, that's good to hear.
Yeah, that's good. You'll be flying before you know it.
Yeah. Yeah, we could fly here if you could take the cold. There ain't no snow on the ground. But it's
Yeah,
just,
as long as it's not too windy. I mean, that's one thing I really care about is when it gets really gusty.
yeah.
I mean, I actually like different elements because, at a contest, if you can handle the wind or the elements, it's to your advantage, So I like to experience different things. Speaking of the weather, what's it like in Muncie in July? I mean, the contest is going to be around between the 14th and the 20th in July in Muncie.
Above 90 usually.
Oh, that won't bother me at all. But how about the wind?
Yeah, you can get some pretty good wind there, and then other times it'll be good. But was it not last year, but the year before when Samantha flew? The wind came up and everything, and while she was flying her last round pattern there, they called the damn thing, and then everybody else got to wait till the wind calmed down and fly. But about pulled her hand off. She could hardly hang on to the airplane. The wind was blowing. I forget what they got to call it. When it was 20 miles an hour or whatever.
I think the rule book says 25.
25? Well, then that's what it was. It got up there so fast that she flew the whole pattern, but she was in pain. She didn't do well.
I bet. So Al says yes, aluminum with the ring from a Series 21 McCoy 35.
Yeah. But I couldn't find the parts on it, but I'll call them, and I guess I'll just call McCullough and might get me a couple of them and throw a couple of them together. Put on some an old classic or a old time or something like that. I got a magician that I want to finish, and I think I'll put one of them on that.
Is it the Brodak, or is it was it Dumas or Vico?
Yeah, I forget who made. Yeah, this is a Brodak one.
Okay, so it's a smaller wingspan.
Yeah, it's a 35-40 size. I guess 35 size.
Yeah, that was my favorite plane as a kid. I mean, I built two of those magicians. I loved it. It was actually the plane that I learned to fly inverted, and I did lazy eights with that plane. That was a fun plane.
Yeah, I bought one with a Fox redhead on it, 35.
Uh-huh.
I flew that, but it finally, the damn silk span all started ripping up. But I started stripping it down, and I could see it had been crashed and fixed. They did a good job on it, but yeah, I can get that one going too. But I never could get that redheaded or that redhead 35 running well. For Stunt anyway, it probably been. But I guess that was a combat engine at one time or something.
I don't know about that.
Which engine you talking about?
A Fox Redhead 35.
Oh, no.
I think that was like one of their first combat engines or something.
Yeah, if I ever have a midlife crisis, but I think I'm past that age already, but that would be a plane I would like to build. Be a magician, just to kind of relive my childhood.
Yeah. You know, I always say I'm going to build an Aries one of these days because, you know, when I first started flying, that's what people were flying and stuff. And I always loved that airplane. I always wanted one. And I'll probably get me a kit one of these days and build one.
It's a good looking plane.
Yeah. But
All those I-beamers I think look good. The Detroiter, the Aries, the Cobra.
yeah. Oh, what was that, Steve? Oh shit, I can't think of his name. Argus.
Yeah.
I have the plans for the Argus. I just never dared to try to do an I-beamer, but so you got to go through any more therapy on your, or is it?
Hey, Dennis.
See,
Hey,
I
Dennis?
have last appointment. Oh, hang on. Let me let this lurker in. Dennis, there we go. All right, there you go. You asking me, Steve, if I have to do
Yeah.
more therapy?
Are you just good to go now, or do you got to still go do some therapy? And
No, I still have to work up to it because remember I got muscles that hadn't been used in over a year now. So I hadn't got my balance back and all that. I think my right leg's got super balance because I've been using it for everything. But my left one, the one they repaired, is going to take a while to get back in action. So I'm using the cane just to make sure I don't fall down. And I'm going slow. I've been instructed to go slow, and due to all of my underlying conditions, we got to be very, very careful not to undo any bone growth that started to come back together and grab that new titanium spike. And so, yeah, I'm not out of the woods, but am getting there faster than I ever recall since all this started. I'm way ahead of where I was after last winter's surgery.
That's
I mean,
good.
and I'm only 54 days out now
okay,
from surgery. And it, this is what I was like, months and months after surgery last year. So, yeah, this is a whole new ball game.
yeah, be careful. My cousin went to a quarter car wash. They don't call it quarters anymore. Stepped out of her car and there was ice on the floor.
Mm.
Broke her hip, and it's the one that she had the hip replacement in,
Oh,
and a
God.
bunch of that titanium pin right out of the bone.
Oh,
Oh, it probably split the femur when it came out too, didn't it?
Yeah, it split the femur, and she's, I don't know, 2 months now. They're trying to get it to where they can get it repaired. She still can't do anything with it.
wow. Sorry to hear that.
She's in a nursing home and everything else.
How old is she?
72.
Oh, my.
Let me interrupt here. Terry Forbes says, I'm going to put one together with new piston and ring. I'm also looking for a magnesium speed pan. I've got a vintage fiberglass motor half.
Oh, he's going to put one in a speed plane.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Hey, Dennis, what's up?
Good evening, everyone. How you doing?
Doing
Hey,
well.
you're all good. Kind of a slow night.
You get your airplane all done and everything now, and
Are you on drugs?
I
Still
am.
working on it?
No, it's not done yet. And so it's all dings and dents are all filled in and everything. Now I'm ready to do some fiberglassing. Everything fiberglass.
Oh, okay.
But in fact,
No, you hit it
I
off.
sent you a PM, Steve. I don't know if you got it or not. A while back on a discussion, you talked about using something other than Z-epoxy. It was something else you said that was easier to sand.
Oh, yeah. It's what's his name? Does all the glue?
West Systems was it or Bob
No.
Smith?
Bob Smith.
And he has is it a finishing resin or is it just?
Yep. Bob Smith finishing resin. You can get it from Hobby King.
Okay.
But yeah, I like it even. It's less money, and I like it a lot better. My brother changed. He started using Z-epoxy too, and he's told other people. And I mean, not Z, but he's changing using the Bob Smith now too.
Because normally I use Z-epoxy just on raw wood to fill the grain, and I scrape it off and wipe it off.
Yeah.
Do you use it the same way with the Bob Smith resin?
Yeah, that, and then on my on my foam core wings, when I put a 1 inch of fiberglass to stiffen, to stiffen that up, or if last time I used carbon fiber, but I'll use that.
Okay.
But what I do is that, like with the carbon fiber or the fiberglass, I take in the first coat, I put it out an inch wider than where the fiberglass is at, and then wipe it all off.
Mm-hmm.
Then when you add more and sand all that and contour it, you won't touch raw balsa that
Right.
dents and sands away so easy.
That's a good idea.
Put it
I've
out
got
about
I've got a big package as yet unopened of Bob Smith finishing resin. I think it was $30. It's 2 big bottles. I couldn't get a smaller package, so I'm going to be using it when I put glass on the Cardinal.
Have you used it for fillets at all with micro balloons, or do you normally just use the super fill?
I have used that with micro balloons, but I'm out of it now. But I used to have a whole thing of flume silica, and that's what's in superfill. And then I would mix that with flume silica, and I could make my fillets just like with superfill, but it's so much easier with superfill that I don't bother with it anymore.
I use regular epoxy with micro balloons and make pretty good fillets. But I've never tried making with finishing resin fillets with finishing resin and micro balloons. But I've never used finishing resin at all. I just bought it to use for the first time.
Have you guys ever used Cavasil?
Yeah, I've used Cavasil. Cavasil is flume silica.
Okay.
Cavasil is a name from a manufacturer.
Okay.
But yeah, that's flume silica.
Flume silica. Okay.
Yeah.
Is there any compatibility issues with either the Bob Smith or the Z-epoxy and superfill?
I never have, no.
Okay. Because I've never used superfill before. I bought some, and I just haven't had a chance to use it yet. So
yeah, that's another one of my firsts too. I've got my first superfill waiting to be used, so I'm learning on that.
Yeah, I started, actually where the fillets go in, putting a little bit of the finishing resin on the wood and wiping it off, just for the same reason. When I'm sanding the fillets, I don't bump raw balsa.
Right.
Then you're trying to fill that, and it's like, God, you just got more problems. You just need to harden that balsa up a little bit. So
right.
Dennis, you might know this already, but just make sure you use a different stick to get the when you mix the superfill, don't use the same stick to grab part A and then grab part B. Make sure you use two distinct different sticks.
Good idea. Yeah.
You don't
Set off the.
yeah, and you actually will ruin you'll ruin it. I mean, you'll what's the word I'm trying to use?
It catalyzes it.
Yeah, you just ruin that whole. You ruin the, just kick off. So just be careful with that.
Now,
Have you
superfill, like a 2-to-1 mixture. How sensitive is it on the 2-to-1? I mean, as long as you get it close, you're okay. Or
Yeah, as long as you get close, you're okay. It's not exact. I was just a bit more concerned about contamination more than anything else.
Right.
The big thing is don't overdo the white stuff. I screwed up, and I did it so I know it's 2-to-1, and I made it 1-to-1. It never dried. I figured it would set off faster. I'm working so fast with it, and 3 days later the stuff was still spun. I ended up having to dig it all out and then redo it. It never cured. And I always thought if you put too much catalyst in it, it hardened too fast, but it did something where it wouldn't work at all.
Yeah, it's molecule to molecule. It mates itself, and no matter which one there's too much of, there's some unbound molecules, and that'll make it gooky either way.
Does this stuff have to get stirred up if it's been sitting for a while?
Mine looks like it needs stirring.
Is it on the bottom? Does it look clear?
I don't know. I haven't even unwrapped it yet. I've had it for about 4 months.
Oh, you
got some brownish clear on the bottom.
See, on the very bottom, because it's a clear container that looks like a liquid in there, then you got to stir that liquid up in through there.
Now, is that on the white part or the blue part?
I only had it happen on the white.
I think that's what mine is too. But there's not very much, but it is a little bit. I've had people tell me it didn't matter, but I'm going to stir it up.
Yeah, I always do. What I do is I'll turn it over and let the stuff run back down through.
Okay.
Oh, that's a good idea.
That's what I've done too. It's sitting out there upside down now.
Yeah, one time I'll do it one way, and then the next time I do it the other way, and
Good idea.
What is the shelf life of this stuff? Does it last quite a while?
3-4 years.
Okay.
That's as long as I ever had it. 3 or 4 years, and I didn't have a problem with it. It may last longer than that. But yeah, that's and then when you get it all mixed up, it smells like cookie dough.
Yeah, it does smell good.
Oh, so I get to satisfy my sweet tooth at the same time. Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's so funny is that the white one has formaldehyde in it or whatever, and it will take your breath if you really suck in a lot. And last year when we were working on Samantha's airplane down there, she goes, "Oh, I had the super fill out," and she goes, "Oh, I love that stuff because it smells like cookie dough." And I unscrewed the top off the white one. I said, "Well, it doesn't take a big whiff." And she took a big whiff, and she started going, "Ooh, ooh." She's like, "Why would you do that to me?" It only smells like cookie dough when it's mixed. But
and then to smooth it out, you use alcohol or you use water?
I lick my finger. Basically.
I believe it says so on the label too. If your label didn't get torn up from the tape they tape them together with, but it says alcohol, I think, on the label.
Yeah, I use water. But because someone told me, and I don't know if it's true, that if you put alcohol on it, it weakens the fillet. But I don't think you can put that much alcohol with it.
It's not supposed to be a structural thing anyway.
Yeah. But I usually forget my damn alcohol or whatever or water. So like I said, I just lick my finger and saliva works just as good.
Well, then you can lick your finger afterwards and get cookie dough.
Yeah.
Hey, Jack Snavely said, going back to these McCoys, he said, I got a Series 21 McCoy 19, and it's got a Dykes ring, heaviest 19 I have ever ran. It's on a journeyman plane that is some sort of racer, I think.
Yeah, see, and I don't know if the 19s are the same like the 35. But that's why if you take a Lightning 35 and put that Dykes ring in there, that's why it's then back is even lighter than that motor was in the beginning. But the 21 series on the 35 and the 19 are just heavier than crap. That's why people didn't like them, but they lasted a long time and they were really good motors. But the Lightning, Al was telling about that, to where they were doing the changeover. So they had the liner out of the 21 series that they were getting ready to make, and they put the old piston in it. And then when they got the 21 all up and going, then they got rid of the old Lightning, and then it was the same liner. So you can drop the piston in there, and you just said you had to fix the rod in it, or the piston rod or pin or whatever you want to call it. But that was a hell of an idea. So, but yeah, them old 21 series were bulletproof. Them things ran really good, but they weigh 4 or 5 ounces more than a normal one. Hold on just a minute, guys. I gotta.
Okay. You been flying, Dennis?
No, haven't flown since what, Golden State?
Are you still working out your arrangement with the flying side?
In fact, I got to make a call sometime this week to find out see what's going on there, because I haven't heard anything. So, but the weather hasn't been conducive to flying anyway. It's been windy, raining, cold, wet, and ugly. So, but there was a couple of days that looked really, really nice. But man, I wanted to get out there. So.
I bet. Yeah, today I got rained out. Today I couldn't fly today, but I flew Friday, and I flew last Monday. And that Vector that you saw that was at Golden State, it's now it's flying pretty good.
Of course.
I mean, now I'm actually working on me. I mean, it's been such a long time. I'm actually now focusing on my reverse wing over. I'm trying to work on pulling out lower.
Yeah.
And
I hear on doing that, the best thing is not to hit the ground.
Oh yeah, that's a detail we sometimes overlook.
You can have better success without hitting the ground.
You know what? I would like to even get to the point where I can see the ground. I'm I'm going over the top, and then I'm trying to concentrate and trying to focus. And
looking so hard at the plane you can't see the ground coming.
I can't see. It's like when you're standing in and you're thinking about someone, and someone goes, "What are you looking at?" And you go, "Nothing." That's what it's like for me. It's like I'm looking, but I'm not looking at nothing. I can't see nothing, and so I'm trying to work. I'm working on that because I think that it's really unfortunate, but the reverse wing over is a very difficult maneuver, and it's the second maneuver in the pattern.
Well, have you been following the Ted Fleischer's little forum he's got there on Stunthangar?
A little bit. I have been so busy with I don't know if you've heard me make this comment before, but I've been more of a mechanic lately. I have 3 cars that have issues, and in California you get these smog checks and all this kind of stuff. So and they're all registered around December and January, and then March. So right now I'm like trying to get my cars going, and every car has an issue right now. It's like and I fix my own cars because I can't afford to go to a mechanic.
Yeah.
So
Well, there's one of the posts out there, and I can't remember. Ted was talking about it, and somebody else posted it, but they equate it to drawing on a blackboard when you're doing patterns. And when you draw, say, a circle on a blackboard, you don't watch or follow the chalk as you're writing it. You're looking ahead, you know. And the same with maneuvers. You have to fly ahead of the plane, so to speak. You have to be ahead of it. Otherwise, if you're watching the plane, you're behind it already.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to react fast enough. So you have to look ahead. So when you're up in your wing over, as it comes across stop and it starts heading down, you should be comfortable enough to be able to look at the ground and not watch the plane.
Right.
And then you go ahead and you see the plane comes into view. Now you know, okay, now hit it. And then you make your turn. But if you're keeping your eye on that plane all the way going up, and then to where, okay, now I got to make the turn, you're flying actually behind the plane rather than ahead of the plane.
Thank you, Dennis. That makes a lot of sense. Because the guy I've been flying with, he's an expert pilot, and he was telling me to keep the plane in the center of my eye, between your eyes, basically between your eyes, So that's how he flies, which that turns it into a timing maneuver. Totally, because you can't see the ground. But what you're saying, if you get ahead of it, you can see the ground and see the plane come into vision. Come into view. And then pull out. And
I think that's why you see a lot of combat flyers make good stunt pilots.
Yes.
There's a simple reason, because they don't always look at the plane.
No, they don't.
They feel and they know where that plane is at. And it should be the same way in stunt. You should know where that plane is without having to keep your eye on it 100% of the time.
I agree. I remember Mike Lonke saying that.
Yeah.
He looks down at the ground and.
Now, when I'm flying intersections, I do use straight up between my eyes as a reference, but I don't follow the plane like that. I just kind of look through the whole area where I'm flying the stunt and move my head back and forth enough to, keep a eye on when to turn. But yeah, I don't follow the plane around. I've tried. Somebody told me once to look straight down the lines, and I tried doing that and almost plowed it into the ground. So I can't look straight down the lines.
I can't. It gets me dizzy when I look down the lines. I get dizzy. Yeah. I can't do that too long. I can do it for a little bit, but I know I was reading that Paul Walker Trim article, and he talked about sighting down the lines to see if the wing is rolling in or rolling out, rolling away or rolling in.
Yeah.
Sight down the lines to see that. I tried that. I got dizzy. I was like, oh, forget this. I had to stop.
You're not supposed to do it for the whole flight, Charles.
Once you're trimming,
that's what he meant.
While you're trimming, you can take a glance at stuff like that you wouldn't.
Or some semicolon in the article. But yeah, I appreciate you saying what you're saying. That's I knew this one basketball coach, and he was saying that he would go to these clinics, and one of the coaches asked him, why do you tell all the other coaches what you do, to win? And he says, because most coaches won't do it. And I think in the same thing with stunt. You can tell me what you're telling me, but it's like, we know people who have built a plane and they won't fly it because they're scared they're going to crash it. It's like stunt is hard. You can know everything, but to get yourself to execute it, that's another.
Yeah. A lot of judges are terrible pilots, but they're great judges.
Yeah.
That's like me. I know I'm going to crash it. I don't have to worry about it or whatever. It's going to end up in the trash can sooner or later.
You should probably make sure that someone that's flown that plane first, make sure it flies good. I bet you if you flew a really good flying plane, not that I have personally, I've only flown my own plane, so I don't even know what a really good flying plane really is. But I bet you if you had someone fly your plane first, Steve, make sure it's nothing goofy, it flies and turns right and runs right, it'd probably be much easier A trim plane is easy to fly.
You could be onto something there. Maybe, yeah, maybe you ought to try that, Steve. Let somebody analyze it for you first and see if it needs any work before they turn it over to you.
Have Samantha fly it. Good gracious,
Yeah,
she's
I'll take her old airplane and crash it.
What'd you say?
I'll take one of Samantha's old airplanes and crash it. Something she won the NAS with.
Okay.
You know, it's just that I'm hoping now that I got my both eyes fixed,
Right.
that it'll solve this problem. Because she always bitching at me about when we're driving that I'll go out of my lane and shit. She's like, Dad, you can't stay in your lane, or you know, but I ain't seeing good. But now, I mean, I can really see better. I shouldn't have been driving, I don't think.
Wow.
Doesn't sound like it.
I had no depth. Well, and that's what the eye doctor told me. I had no depth perception.
No, not without two eyes. You don't have depth perception.
Wow, how did you make left turns? My goodness.
Like hell, I almost hit a car in France.
I bet. I mean, if you're in a left lane and making a left turn in front of oncoming traffic with no depth perception, that's got to be
scary.
But yeah, I made it through, but and stuff like that. But I don't know. The one thing I noticed is that I really had to concentrate and look at the road, and I was okay. But it's like now I can, look at a billboard or whatever and stay in my lane. If I looked at that billboard, I was driving to that billboard. Wherever my eyes went, the damn car went.
So maybe you can fly now. I bet you can fly now.
Maybe.
One of the things I really enjoy is that we have a stunt clinic out here, and that's where you got Ted Fancher, you got Brett Buck, you got Dave Fitzgerald that go out and they fly your plane. And I had the biggest eye-opening experience the very first time I went out there. Because the first you go out and you fly, you do a flight, put in a full pattern, and they come back and judge you on your pattern. And he said I was doing good, nice rounds and everything. But when I got to the squares and so forth, the squares weren't too square. My corners were big. And I didn't know, I thought it did good. I thought it was fine. Brett went to fly the plane and he couldn't make a turn. He said, whoa, the controls are way too slow. And so he had me go in, add some tail weight. We did some lead out adjustments and so forth. And then he was able to take the plane and fly it. And he got it where it was in the ballpark, so to speak. But it was a lot different than what I was accustomed to. So when I flew it, it was like flying a brand new airplane. And then once I saw what it could do and what it was supposed to do, it was like night and day. Big, big difference. And so if you have somebody out there that can fly it and get the feel for it, that knows how to trim out a plane, you shouldn't have any problem.
Yeah, we'll see, because everybody's like, you just need to know where the ground's at. And I said, I know where the ground's at. It's right where my airplane's at.
It's right where you're standing.
But yeah, because I always joked. I said, the ground here in Michigan is 4 foot higher than in the other parts of the country. But
the stunt clinic we had was fantastic, because where I was at, and I'm still got a ways to go, but you don't know what is right or the way the thing should be until somebody who has the experience can go in and either fly it or see it and be able to come back and give you some feedback. And there's no better feedback you can receive than having an expert flyer fly your plane and to tell you, well, your plane is out of whack here. Because like Brett said, it was posted on Stunthangar. He said, I could have yelled at Dennis all day long to make sharper corners, but the plane was not capable of doing those corners.
Right.
Once we got the plane trimmed out and able to turn, then it was a piece of cake.
Now, what happened to your level flight, though? Because now you have a plane that turns quicker, right? It's more responsive. So did you find it harder to have a level flight without
it didn't affect the level flight at all.
Okay. Cool.
You know, and it was, and basically, and when you deal with tail, where I end up, they get it fully adjusted. Then when I came back home and later on in some practice sessions, Brett said to keep adding tail weight till it starts to get squirrely. And then when you get squirrely, back off, you know, a quarter of an ounce. You know, take a quarter of an ounce off. Did that, the plane grooves fine, and now turns better. Because I was going in, I was really hitting it hard to, you know, come up on a wing over. You know, I'm coming up, I'm yanking that dude to get it on up there. And then when it comes to pulling out, I'm yanking it down to get it on. And Brett was helping me to say, Dennis, you don't use your arms. It's all with your wrist that you make the movements with. Right. And when you see him and both Dave fly their planes, it's all wrist movements. They're not going with the great big, you know, arm yanks and so forth to get the plane to do things.
Right, right.
And then Ted Fancher helped me, and he says, learn how to fly, especially on a level flight, do the adjustments with your fingers, your first finger and your ring finger on the handle. Just applying the pressure with those to make it sure it's level. Don't use the full hand movement in order to do that.
Yeah. Yeah, I sometimes just kind of tighten and loosen my fingers on level flight.
Mm-hmm.
See, that's like with Samantha's. She never, you know how the handles are kind of like they're thicker in the centers than they are on the outside.
Yeah.
See, she flies a straight handle, and then we add extra wraps of stuff, so it actually is concave. Because she flies all of her level flights with her pinky and her pointer finger.
Yeah.
Right.
And then if you watch her, once she's done with that, she'll then grip that damn handle, and then it's all wrist. But when she's doing the level laps, these two fingers aren't really touching the handle at all.
They're just along for the ride.
Yeah. What do you guys use to fill up the space in your handle? Because I'm not really satisfied with the wraps I've done, and I still feel like, you know, I wish the handle would not move at all. I mean, not at all. And I think I've seen Wendy use I'm not sure if he used plaster or was it Superfill but he put a handle in that he put like a cellophane glove on his finger or hand, and then he had all that stuff on the handle, and he grabbed it and squeezed all that stuff out. And then he let it go and he let it cure. And then he went back and sanded it, but it was like a perfect fit. Have you guys tried anything similar to that?
All the ones with the points in between all your fingers?
Yeah.
Yeah, Samantha didn't like that. I don't like them. We got a couple of guys in our club that they love them. Tom Morris makes them, and then you can sand them into shape and stuff like that. But I guess it's just
I fly Tom's handles.
You know,
I make all my own handles, and basically I use 16th-inch aluminum. What is it? 2024 T3 aluminum, and it's just an oval shape basically with the center cut out. But I can, and then I take balsa, you know, usually 3/8 or 1/2 inch balsa on each side, and epoxy that to the handle, and then I carve that to shape to get it, and then I come back and I'll wrap it with, you know, what do they call that racquetball tape or whatever, tennis
racket tape's what I use.
Yeah, and then like Steve talked, I will make it thicker on the outside than I do in the middle.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah, the little handle I can go in next. If I want to scallop it, I could. It's very easy to scallop. You just cut it out.
And then if you don't want your hand to move up and down, we wrap it around the edge. Keep it
I did that to a handle, and it's like people were picking up my handle going, what did you do to this handle? Because I had put wraps on the top leg and the bottom leg so that my hand couldn't move up and down, you know, because I had space there. Believe it or not, with my big hands, I had to have a little bit of space, and I was just trying to I got rid of it, but the handle was so ugly. I guess I shouldn't care what it looks like, but this has got to be a better way.
Well, one of the things on when I make my new handles, it's only 3.5 inches between my, you know, top of my hand and the bottom of my hand, and that's what I cut the inside to. So when you pick it up, that's where it stays.
3.5. You got some Trump hands, huh?
Yeah, I got small hands, you know, at least narrow hands. So so that way when I pick it up, it fits. Yeah, if I made it, I can make it bigger, But then you run a situation where I could grab it accidentally by the top or by the bottom, and then I have to readjust it when I'm flying.
Are you talking about measuring it this way?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, mine's 4.
See, so you probably couldn't use my handle to fly because it's probably too narrow.
Let's see here. Yeah, I had a condition called acromegaly, which means big hands. When I was a younger person, I had excessive growth hormone, and I had surgery in my pituitary gland to remove a tumor. So I still suffer a little bit from acromegaly, and that's why. Yeah, so mine is like, I don't know, I think mine's 4 inches. Yeah.
That's the nice thing about making your own stuff. You make it to fit.
Yeah. Yeah, I see you make everything. I mean, that's great, Dennis.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, basically we just what is it, Smith Brother handle, and then we just wrap it to keep her hand from moving. But
Is that carbon fiber handle? That Smith Brother?
Yeah.
Nice.
I
Nice and
hope I
light.
can get back to finger flying with my pinky and my index finger, because when my carpal tunnel was really bad last time I was flying, it was coming off of this finger, and I didn't know it was coming loose until it was too late. And next thing I knew, it was on the lanyard. So after that happened 2 or 3 times, I decided I needed to make some kind of glove or something to affix my hand to the handle. But that doesn't sound like a good idea for control either. I just need to be able, because I used to fingertip control my half ace and fly like that. And so that's what I like to do with the stunters too. But when they pull hard at the bottom of a loop or something like that, I was losing the ability to hang on to it.
Right. Yeah.
Tie a string around your wrist and tie it to the tip of your finger.
Well, I had carpal tunnel surgery last spring, and it seems to be working, and the muscle seems to be coming back here. So now
feeling in it?
thinking maybe I'll be able to use it again. So what?
You got feeling in it though?
It's coming back. Yeah, I can.
Okay,
I
that's
can
the big thing with carpal tunnel. When I wear them damn things at night, but I lose the feeling in my pointer finger.
Yeah, it's your carpal tunnel mostly affects your thumb, index, and middle finger, and worse than the other ones. And I still have full feeling in the pinky, but it's just coming back now because this was completely numb last time I flew a plane. But they're all gnarly. You can see how that's as straight as I can make them right there. So, and I can't close them either. That's as tight as I can close them. If I strain, I can do that. But
that's enough.
Yeah, that gets it around the handle. So.
Yeah, you got to see Jeff Trexler's handle because he's got that. I forget what he's got. He can't close his hands or whatever. And you pick up his handle and you're like, oh my God, because not all of his fingers close around the same amount. So in the top, it's so big, and the next finger is so big, and the one underneath it, he's got it all wrapped. So
that's what mine's kind of like, So they're all different.
Yeah, so he's got wrap on there with it. His handle's so different than everybody else's, but he flies well. So, but he just makes it up with wrapping because none of his fingers all close the same distance.
Yeah, mine's pretty good.
I'm gonna have to pay more attention to my handle. There's a lot of things I need to work on that are just detail oriented. Because I know I can fly a good pattern. I've done it. I know I can do it, but I got a lot of little things to work on.
Yeah, it sucks that my mom, all that stuff, because I was going to go down to Florida and I was going to get some flying in because I really want to test my eyes now so bad. And the damn weather here is so bad that it's so cold that I can't fly. But yeah, I was going to take a plane down with me to Florida and fly it.
What's going on in Florida?
Huh?
What's going on in Florida?
My I still have one uncle and one aunt alive down there.
Oh,
And
okay.
I go stay with my uncle, my dad's brother. My dad was from Florida. So I got a shitload of cousins and everybody lives down there yet. But he came up here for work because there was nothing there in Florida when, him and my mom got married. But yeah, he was 18 and my mom was 15.
Wow. What kind of work did he do?
He worked at the paint manufacturing, making appliance paint. That's how I got into guardsmen and
Yeah, okay.
did all the pumps and all that shit for HVAC and everything was when I went to work there. And that's where I got that cancer, that only 7 of us in the United States had. And we all worked in chemical factories.
No shit. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but yeah, that's where he worked, and he got some weird lung cancer. And, who knows what all the years of him breathing all them chemicals and everything that.
My son's a chemist, and he knows that he's at a higher risk than the general population for that kind of thing.
Yeah, and everybody used to say, "Oh, you work at a chemical factory, it cuts, 10 years off your life," and I used to joke, "Oh, so you're drooling years anyway." But then, 40 years old, I had cancer. It's like, damn.
Yeah, damn.
But all the stuff that I worked around, they don't even have anymore. I mean, everybody always bitched about California making all these chemicals illegal and we couldn't send any paint there or anything else. But now nobody uses that stuff in the industry, and that's,
Oh, good. Okay.
So it's really a good thing. But yeah, we all bitched about it because they always changed formulas and stuff worked harder, didn't work as good, like stripper and all that kind of stuff. And
Right.
I come to find out that that's what caused it was paint stripper that they figure is what caused mine. A methyl ethyl chloride in it.
Yeah,
But,
we say out here in California, if it works, we can't get it. Anything that works, we can't get in California.
But it's better for your health.
Yeah, I guess they're doing something good.
Yeah, everywhere else in the country we joke about that, but it ain't really no joke.
No, just like I said, guardsmen, they didn't, all the big bosses and owners and all that kind of shit, they didn't care if I died at 40. They'd just find somebody else to replace me.
Oh, absolutely. Just the bottom line is profit.
So.
And they even sometimes factor in lawsuits, and they still look at the pharmaceutical companies. They make a product that's terrible, and they can still pay all these huge lawsuits, and they're still making lots of money.
Yeah. So. Yeah, that's why I don't even let Samantha, I try not to have her pain or anything, as little as possible. Because it's just not good to breathe it. All that stuff, we've been trying to do water-based stuff, but it hasn't been working so good, but we'll get it.
So, Dennis, you paint outside, Dennis?
I paint my garage.
With
I'll open up the garage door and the side door, and I have a fan that I turn on.
Okay.
Yeah, because
when I was a kid, I was doing it all in my bedroom. I not only paint in there, I'd sleep in there, with it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's how my basement always was and stuff like that for all this stuff that, I did. Little fan in the window and, it looks like as you go walking out of the basement, you see this fog in there and shit from all the stuff hanging in the air. But now if you read, the safety stuff on there, you're supposed to have a damn pressurized air suit that you wear when you spray with this stuff. Anything now. I mean, they want to make sure you got filtered air going in there and so many CFMs, a minute cleaning all the air out of that booth. Just put it out put it out in for public to breathe, but you know, it's just I look for everything to go water based.
I think I have some of that. Was it the 2-part urethane?
Yeah.
I mean, they even specify what type of respirator you should be using when you spray that stuff.
Oh yeah.
And not to spray it without a respirator. You know, and don't go out and buy those paper masks because those don't do any good in dealing with that stuff. 'Cause I guess that stuff gets floating in the air.
Right.
Once it becomes airborne, you know, it stays out there, so to speak, and it doesn't move. So you can walk through it and suck it right on in, you know, just in your normal breathing. So that appears to be some very nasty stuff.
Yeah, and you know, truly is like my buddy there on his mask, they fitted it for him and put him in a chain, you know, make sure that he couldn't suck any air from around the mask and how it fit his face and how tight, you know, they did all that kind of testing. You breathe, they put something around it and it leaves you can see if it sucks in on your face or whatever.
Probably doesn't have a beard.
No, he couldn't have a beard or a mustache.
Thinking too.
Yeah, so yeah, that was, but he worked in a body shop and painted all the time. And they made him have a certain mask and all this kind of stuff. But then they came out, and she liked better with that fucking hood and stuff that went over him. And it brought in outside air, pressurized the hood, so nothing could get in there. And he still wore some kind of mask or whatever, but not as big or whatever. And he painted with that. He said that was the best way to do it. Because he said he could always taste it. You know, after you get done painting, even with a good mask and stuff, he could still taste it.
Well, there was somebody, I can't remember who it was. Was it John Brodak or whatever? Lost their taste buds. You know, they can't taste food now.
I remember hearing about that too, but I don't know.
Somebody, I can't remember if it was him or not, but somebody, you know, lost their taste buds because of all the dope that they were, you know, breathing in, you know, because of spraying and so forth.
Well, that's always, you know, me and my brother would joke and stuff like that because nobody could eat my dad's food when he cooked because it's always had so much pepper and salt and everything else in it. And, you know, we'd always bitch. And so he'd leave stuff out and then let us put what we wanted in it. Once I worked at Guardsman for 6 months, I love my dad's cooking. Because all my taste buds were gone.
Oh my goodness! Oh man,
like,
that's not funny.
It was probably 3 or 4 years before I was back. My taste buds came back or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I was on medication. I was in the hospital for a kidney transplant back in the 1980s, late 80s, and I lost my sense of smell and taste, and that I could tell there was something there, but everything smelled the same. I could not distinguish a pot roast from a pile of shit, and it didn't resemble anything good. Everything I smelled and tasted exactly the same, though. But
your wife must have looked like that. It was easy to cook for you.
I guess so. But it came back.
I won't go there. I won't go there. You don't have a dog, do you? You know?
Actually, we did at the time.
Try this new pate on these crabs.
Yeah, just don't piss her off.
Oh.
That's funny.
But yeah, you know, I just stress that to Samantha all the time. It's just good to be as safe as possible because you're bulletproof when you're young. You don't care, you know.
Yeah, you can live forever when you're young.
Yeah, and I mean, you can breathe dope fumes and this and that and everything else. And
Yeah.
You know.
What do they say? The beauty of a young man is his strength. You may not be wise, though.
Yeah. That's true.
That's for sure. But yeah, so hopefully, maybe we'll get an early spring and I can get out there and fly. I got an airplane ready, and So I'm ready to go with my little electric ringmaster.
Yeah, I'm hoping for an early spring too. I'm really, really ready to.
Yeah, but that's like February for you guys.
Yeah.
You know.
That's amazing, and Dennis, these guys can't fly for a long time.
I mean, we can literally fly year round. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I've been flying a lot. Except for today, first time I had weather get in the way. Besides life, sometimes life gets in the way. But yeah, today was the first time I actually showed up and had to go back home.
Yeah, we just on the weather we get warnings, flash flood warnings. I guess this next storm that's coming in is supposed to be pretty good. And
Yeah,
where I live, we should be okay, but some areas probably will get flooded.
yeah. I said something to Charles about that when I was watching the Rams game. They said the field was okay, but they had it covered or whatever, and the sidelines were like a marsh.
Yeah.
I didn't realize you got. So, has there been any mudslides and stuff like that after all the fires?
Down south, there's been some mudslides. I'm further north. Charles is down there. He can probably tell you more about the mudslides down there. But,
You know, I actually haven't seen the mudslides over here around here, and I don't watch the news very much. And when I do check the weather, I'm checking for if it's going to rain or not, or what the wind is like. You know, I use AccuWeather or I use the Weather Channel, and I see the warnings. You know, the alerts for slides or stuff. But for the most part, the weather here is pretty moderate. I'm really fortunate, very very blessed to have a pretty good weather.
yeah, I think the mudslides are all north, like Santa Barbara area. Between LA and Santa Barbara is where they get the mudslides on was it Highway 1 or 101?
Yeah, probably where the fires are at. That's what all the ground cover's gone. And
why didn't they like spray that with like here? When they do a highway or whatever, they spray some kind of seed and stuff on it, and that shit grows really fast. And seemed like that would lock in some of that soil or whatever.
Hey, Steve, it's California. Yeah. There's probably a law against it.
Oh.
Yeah, you need rain. You need rain too for it to grow. We have had rain, but unseasonably amount of rain. I've seen them.
But I think they know like some rain is coming before it gets to these monsoon types. Get something established there. It probably and I don't know what they use, a rye or whatever that grows really fast, and it dies off. And then the other seed.
I think it's called Bahia grass.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah.
It grows really fast. It just locks in the soil, and then regular grass comes up afterwards.
Yeah. It's also known as highway grass.
The biggest problem was that we've been going through a drought. So everything was being dried out. Nothing was growing. And then all of a sudden, you get rain, you get the fires. Fires come in and so forth, burn everything down. And so there's nothing there to stop the water. And now we get this large amount of rain that comes in, and it just washes on out and erodes all the ground. So, I mean, it's just a kind of a odd situation that happened. But that's what happens when you come off of a drought, and then you start getting rain.
Are you guys getting a lot of snow in the mountains and stuff? Has it been cold enough to? I was watching that. They said that's where a lot of the rivers and all that stuff for the farmers and everything was all the snowpack that melted off.
That gives us our summer water, basically, is what it does. So no, we're getting plenty of snow. So that's not a problem. I mean, last 2 years have been fairly decent. As far as amount of snow and so forth. We haven't had the shortage of water for a long time. We were under water restrictions.
I know.
Water on certain days, your grass or anything like that. So, that's all been lifted.
Yeah, I couldn't believe that. I'd seen I was watching a thing on TV, and they were up there in the mountains, and they had these poles with markings on them so they could tell how much snow they had, And they were up there, and they're like, yeah, we don't got no snowpack, it's 4 foot. And I'm like, 4 foot? But they're saying they got 10, 12 feet of snowpack. Mm-hmm. I'm like, holy shit, that's a lot of snow.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It's like, wow. Could never live in the mountains.
A couple of years ago, that'd be probably about 7 years ago now, I think, 7, 8 years ago, they were under the drought situation. I went north. I used to play a lot of golf, and I was playing this one golf course up north, and they were under water restrictions. They could not water the golf course. Only thing they could water was the green and the tee boxes. That was it. The fairways could not be watered. And so they warn you about that. I've never played there before. They warn you about that, and because maybe you may not want to play the course. I found it very neat because the fairways were rock hard. So when you drove your ball, you hit the fairway, you were hitting 400-yard drives because the ball would roll 150 yards further than what you normally go.
Right.
So that was fantastic, But boy, when you had to hit off that stuff, it was like hitting off a concrete, sidewalk. It was very, very hard.
Well, that's not.
Gotta sneak a tee down and put the ball up on it, give it a swing.
You couldn't even put a tee in the ground. It was so hard.
Oh, it'd break if you tried to stick it in.
Well, ain't that how Tiger Wood hurt his back that one time or whatever? He was out there out west someplace and hit under the ball or whatever and buried that club in the dirt and just.
That or it was in some heavy rough he might have been in too. It'll do the same thing. I don't know. But I had to give it up because of my back. I couldn't swing a club no more.
Yeah, I didn't, I could see the swinging part, but I never thought about hitting the ground wrong and just jamming your back or whatever. And
usually the person goes your wrist
into it. Yeah, I can see it doing some damage.
Yeah, how hard they're swinging or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean those guys are. 130 mile an hour swing speed. You don't know how fast that is until you actually see it. And trust me, it is very, very fast. What's amazing, there was a discussion going on here one time talking about epoxies. Yeah, and the strength of 5-minute epoxy sometimes gets called into question because it goes so fast. Most people don't realize all golf clubs are put together or assembled together with 5-minute epoxy. And the pros will go out and have a set of clubs made. They'll go into the pro shop or the trailers, have them make a change to a club, put another head or another shaft on. They'll use 5-minute epoxy. 30 minutes later, they're swinging that club.
Wow. That's pretty impressive.
And I mean, it's just standard 5-minute epoxy is all they're using. There's nothing special about the epoxy that they're using. So when it comes to strength wise, 5-minute epoxy is, the main thing is just you make sure you got enough time to work with it. But once it goes off and everything, there's nothing wrong with the strength of it.
Well, it's like I said, if you're gluing plywood to balsa wood, I don't give a shit how strong a glue you use. That joint can't be any stronger than the balsa wood.
Correct.
It's, the weakest link in a chain. It's just, people go nuts on that and it makes no sense. Now, if you're gluing steel and you have, that's tougher than what the glue is, then you'd look at, how strong the glue is. Like in a golf club, when you're gluing a steel head or whatever. But really, if you think about it, that glue doesn't have to be any stronger than the shaft. If it's a metal shaft, then, but if it's a carbon fiber shaft, it does,
When a club breaks, it's not the epoxy that gave way.
Right.
It shears at the head, at the hosel of the shaft and where the hosel of the club head meets. It just shears right there, and that's got nothing to do with the strength of the epoxy.
Right, and that's the same thing with an airplane. I mean, you can't get the glue joint any stronger than the damn wood.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's where Bob Hunt has. He's taken harder wood, using it thinner, and he's getting the same results for weight, but yet the wood is stronger.
Mm-hmm.
You use this 4-pound stuff. I mean, man, it dents easy and chips, and it's like, man, it's hard to use because the wood is so flexible and weak, and then I know that's why they coat it with epoxy and wipe it off, is to strengthen the wood back up.
Mm-hmm.
So,
but yeah, I was surprised, because again, I used to make my own clubs, and again, it's just 5-minute epoxy is all they use.
You used to make your own clubs? Wow.
Yeah, Well, yeah, I buy
Make everything, yeah.
Well, I used to buy the heads and buy the shafts and the gloves and the grips. I mean, it's not rocket science. Trust me, it really isn't. If it was, I couldn't do it. Yeah.
Very good. That's very good.
Yeah, you know, most people don't do it. That's like I said when I worked at Guardsman. Jerry Ford worked there. Gerald R. Ford's brother, and he repped all of our paint and ball coatings and club head coatings and all this kind of stuff. And I had a full set of Ping at the time. Ping was the top club or whatever. I had a full set, and they just gave them to me because we had to scratch them and see how tough the stuff was or whatever. Well, there's nothing wrong with club. I couldn't even give them away. And a set of them clubs with, you know, because everybody says, well, it don't have any shafts on there. Well, get shafts put on it, you know. But I mean, a set of clubs like that at the time were like $1,500, and I'm like, I couldn't give them away. I threw them in the trash.
Oh no.
Oh, wow.
But
Wow.
nobody worked on their own stuff, and they didn't. They said, well, if you don't buy them someplace, and they don't want to put, you know, the shafts in and all that kind of stuff, and whatever. There got to be somebody out there that'll do it. But I never, like you said, I didn't see where if you took 5-minute epoxy and stuck the damn shaft down in the hole, how hard that could be.
It's
Yeah.
not. I mean, there are there's techniques as far as shaft lengths and how shafts are made and the different composites that shafts are made of. But I mean, assembling of a golf club is assembling a golf club. I mean, it's not like I said, it's not rocket science. It's very easy to do.
Shafts are round, right? So it doesn't. They're just round.
Yeah. Yeah. And you take, like certain club manufacturers, like one of the manufacturers, Callaway, which is what I use, had what they call a no hosel club. So you know, most golf faces. Where is it? My son's been in my closet. Yeah, this is pretty much a standard golf club where this let's see where we're at here. This hosel, a lot of the Callaway used to have what they call a no hosel. So all that was attached by epoxy, which was just between the bottom of the club and right about here. You know, about a half of an inch. That's all that held the shaft onto the club. And then they never broke or they never, you know, had any troubles with them. But you know, these ones with the longer hosels, they will normally shear right at this joint where the ferrule is at.
Yeah.
And
Oh, that's a little higher.
So, but yeah. So when it comes, you know, I do all my own push rods, and I just take a 440 bolt, 1.5-inch long 440 bolt, shear off the head, and I just put notches in part of the shaft, and I just fill it full of epoxy, shove it on in there.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's how I do it too.
Yeah, I ain't gonna go nowhere. Yeah. And then just, you know, you wrap if you're using carbon fiber, of course you need to wrap it or whatever to keep it from splitting. But that epoxy will hold it together, no problem at all.
That was you know, working there at Guardsman too. We seen the Big Bertha. Remember when that, I don't know when that came out in the 80s, and we seen it about a year before it ever came out on market. They were testing all the coatings and all that kind of stuff for the Big Bertha. So all the golfers there, they had them and the big shots, and they were playing the Big Bertha before it ever hit the market.
Yep.
Hey, dudes, I think it's time to call it a night. I'm about to go to sleep over here.
All righty.
Unless somebody knows how to bolt a FP40 on a golf club, talk about flying it.
Yeah, it's all about building.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Stuff
We're
like
talking
that.
about materials and adhesives, so it's a good conversation. Conversation.
And they will fly.
It's just time to go.
Hadn't you ever seen a golf club fly before?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Golf one fly.
Usually it's accompanied by 4.
Yeah.
All right, people. Y'all have a great
All right.
week.
All right.
And
All right, take it easy.
Friday and see y'all all then.
All right, see you guys.
Yeah.
right.
And
Good night.
people over on the YouTube, thanks a lot. Appreciate your participation and donations. And we'll see y'all Friday too. So everybody have a great week. And this is Rusty signing off. Good night.
Good night.